Chapter 1544. 1544 Suppressing all heaven's favorite seven. A voice filled with a domineering aura and a faint questioning tone. When everyone around heard this voice, they were slightly shocked and quickly looked behind them. Even He Yuan and He Suiwen looked behind them with grave expressions. There were 7 to 8 young men behind the 2 young men. The 2 young men in the lead walked in front, and no one dared to take even half a step behind them. The 2 young men wore black and white clothes, and the most eye-catching thing was that they each wore a crown on their heads. On the black and white clothes, one of them wrote, "I am the only one in the sky," and the other wrote, "I am the only one in the earth." There was a hint of disdain in their eyes, as if they did not put the entire world in their eyes. I am the only one in the sect, I am the only 2 heavens favorites in the sky and the earth. Outsiders called them the Heaven's Pride Experts and the Earth's Pride Experts. Heaven's Pride Experts, Earth's Pride Experts. Heaven's Pride Experts, Earth's Pride Experts. Compared to He Yuan's arrival, the arrival of the 2 Heaven's Pride Experts from the Solitaire sect made everyone quickly bow and call out respectfully. This kind of honorable status did not only come from their strength, but also the faction behind them. The super faction, the Solitaire sect. From the name, one could see that this was a very overbearing sect. The Solitaire sect's motto was that as long as it involved cultivation, they were the only ones who were supreme. Therefore, every disciple of the Solitaire sect had an aura that surpassed everyone else. They were high and mighty, not afraid of anyone. Their strong confidence was the source of their strength. As the 2 supreme geniuses of the solipsistic sect, their strength and aura were even more overbearing. The arrogance that came from their bones was something that even the core disciples of first-rate forces would feel inferior to. When we arrived, someone said that everyone here is trash. Young Master Tian, who was standing on the left, had a smile on his face. He swept his gaze across everyone and finally landed on He Suiwen. "I give you permission to reorganize your words." As he spoke, he stared at He Suiwen with a smile on his face. The aura that dominated everything around him slowly spread out. He Suiwen's expression instantly changed when he saw the 2 supreme prodigies of the Solitaire sect staring at him. Even He Yuan, who was standing beside him, had a grave expression on his face. He Yuan was able to compare to the prodigies of a superforce because he was very young and he had powerful beast-taming abilities. In fact, in terms of strength, He Yuan was still slightly weaker than them. It could only be said that his potential in the future was not weaker than them, or even higher than them. However, at the moment he was still very afraid of young Master Tian and young Master Di. He Suiwen saw that the people of Solitaire sect were staring at him, and he smiled awkwardly. He clenched his fists and squeezed out a smile. Other than the people from the solipsistic sect, the rest are all trash. There was a hint of unwillingness in his voice, but He Suiwen couldn't do anything about it. The strength and dominance of the solipsistic sect was not something the He Suiwen family could withstand. Wang Xian looked at He Suiwen and then at young Master Tian and young Master Di from the solipsistic sect. His eyes flickered. "I'm very satisfied." Upon hearing He Suiwen's words, young Master Tian nodded with a smile on his face. He was high and mighty. It was as if a king was praising a subject. A Heaven's Pride expert like He Suiwen of the He Suiwen family could only lower his head helplessly. Young Master Tian, young Master Di. At this moment, Bing Jinghuan walked over with slight respect and called out to the 2 Heaven's Pride experts of the Solitaire sect respectfully once again. "Is Wuqing City still not here?" Young Master Tian glanced at Bing Jinghuan and asked. "Young Master Tian, the Crown Prince of Wuqing City is still not here." Bing Jinghuan replied respectfully. The relationship between the Ice Heart Empire and the Solitaire sect was relatively close. Of course, this was because one of them was the leader and the other was the little brother. The 9th prince, Bing Jinghuan, could only be respectful in front of the 2 current leaders of the Solitaire sect. "I heard that your patriarch has taken in an outstanding last disciple. He is very powerful. Who is he?" Young Master Earth looked at the people of the Bingxin Empire and asked indifferently. Young Master Earth, this junior sister Jian is our patriarch's last disciple. She is at the second level of the profound void martial stage and has very strong combat strength. Bing Jinghuan immediately gestured to Ling Jian and said with a smile. Young Master Tian, Young Master Di. Ling Jian hugged her sword and cupped her hands at them. Not bad, not bad. Young Master Di sized up Ling Jian and nodded his head faintly. Brother Wang Xian, isn't that the person you're looking for? When the people from the solipsistic sect arrived, everyone around them stopped talking. Their eyes were focused on the two young masters of heaven and earth. When He Yuan Lin Yao Yao and the rest saw Ling Jian, they were shocked and couldn't help but exclaim. They knew that because of this woman in front of them, Wang Xian had transformed into a heavenly demon and destroyed the entire ancient demon city. He had massacred millions of people. Wang Xian had come to the vast region to look for this woman. The exclamations of He Yuan and the rest caused everyone to look over. When they saw that they were staring at Ling Jian, they were slightly surprised and curious. Okay. Wang Xian ignored the surrounding gazes and nodded at He Yuan. He sighed in his heart and looked at Ling Jian. She is not dead. However, there are some problems. Brat, what are you looking at? I'm warning you. If you dare to pester junior sister Bing again in the future, I will make sure you die without a burial ground no matter who you are. When she saw Wang Xian's gaze, Bing Jinghuan stared at him with a gloomy expression. A hint of killing intent flashed in his eyes as he shouted coldly. You don't have the right to say that. Wang Xian swept a cold glance at Bing Jinghuan. Oh, interesting? Young Master Tian looked at Wang Xian and Bing Jinghuan and smiled with interest. Young Master Tian, Young Master Di, this fellow is very arrogant. He pestered junior sister Jian repeatedly and even said that the daughter of light is trash. Bing Jinghuan stared at Wang Xian and took a deep breath before speaking to them. Daughter of light? Hee, you dare to say that Wu Qingyan is trash? How interesting. The Wang Xian that He Suiwen mentioned just now was you, right? Looking at him, he admitted that he is inferior to you. I am a little curious. Young Master Tian looked at Wang Xian curiously as he spoke. What is your current realm? What is your background? He asked Wang Xian lightly. His tone was high and mighty, as though he was questioning the background and identity of a servant. He Yuan and the rest frowned slightly when they heard young Master Tian's question. Wang Xian looked over expressionlessly when he heard young Master Tian's words. Are you talking to me? He looked at young Master Tian indifferently and asked. Interesting. However, I don't want to repeat myself a second time. Young Master Tian laughed out loud when he heard Wang Xian's words. He stared at Wang Xian and continued to speak indifferently. The atmosphere froze instantly. Chapter 1545. 1545 Suppressing All Heaven's Favorites 8. At the banquet venue, young Master Tian laughed out loud. He was still looking at Wang Xian with a smile on his face. He didn't want to repeat his words for the second time. This was a clear indication of his attitude. His arrogant attitude was as though he didn't want to repeat his words to an ant. Disregard, blatant disregard. As soon as young Master Tian finished his sentence, the surrounding atmosphere instantly froze. Although young Master Tian was laughing, many people could feel his dissatisfaction. Towards this priest Wang's dissatisfaction. Everyone was slightly shocked. Is that priest Wang courting death? He actually dares to defy young Master Tian. He's really arrogant. He even dares to refute young Master Tian's words. Does he really think that he can rely on the He clan and He Sui clan to protect him? Anyone who dares to go against young Master Tian and young Master Di of our sect will not have a good ending. Is that priest Wang courting death? The surrounding people felt young Master Tian's impatience and anger. They were slightly shocked and whispered. They looked at Wang Xian as if they were looking at an idiot. Brother Wang Xian. He Yuan's expression changed slightly when he saw this scene. He shouted at him in a low voice. The two young masters of heaven and earth, the heaven's pride disciples of the super forces, were not to be trifled with. Long time no see. Let's go and have a cup of tea. Wang Xian chose to ignore him and said to He Yuan indifferently. He didn't want to repeat it a second time. When Wang Xian heard this sentence, he wanted to laugh. He ignored him and said to He Yuan. Then he walked towards the table at the side. When He Yuan saw Wang Xian's actions, a hint of bitterness appeared on his face. He took a glance at young Master Tian, whose expression turned gloomy instantly. He sighed in his heart. Although young Master Heaven-Defying was talented and had a strong background, it was a pity that the one you provoked was a sky demon. Would a crazy sky demon who was invincible within the 7th level of the see-through realm care about your identity and background? Would he lower his head for a person at the 3rd level of the see-through realm? What a joke. Very good, very good. It's been a long time since anyone dared to disobey me and provoke me. At this moment, looking at Wang Xian walking towards a table with no regard for him, the smile on young Master Tian's face disappeared completely. He stared at Wang Xian coldly. What? This is not giving young Master Tian any face at all. It's more than not giving him face. This is a slap in the face. Ignore, completely ignore young Master Tian. Everyone around widened their eyes. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. He's courting death. How dare he disobey young Master Tian? Surround him. Bing Jinghuan was slightly stunned when he saw that Wang Xian did not pay any attention to young Master Tian. Following that, a hint of excitement flashed across his eyes. He waved his arm and the people from the Bingxin Empire immediately surrounded Wang Xian. The disciples of the solipsistic sect who were standing behind young Master Tian and young Master Di also stared at Wang Xian coldly and slowly surrounded him. How dare you ignore our senior brother Tian? I sentence you to die. A young man from the solipsistic sect stared at Wang Xian coldly. He also declared his sentence to Wang Xian with an air of superiority. The people from the Bingxin Empire surrounded Wang Xian and the people from the solipsistic sect followed closely behind to surround him. Upon seeing this scene, everyone held their breaths. Young Master Tian, young Master Di, this is the banquet venue for the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. Forget it. He Yuan took a deep breath when he saw this scene. He said with an embarrassed expression, "The current you is not qualified to say such words to me." Young Master Tian swept a cold glance at He Yuan. He stared at Wang Xian and said expressionlessly, "It's been a long time since someone provoked me. I want to let others know that the outcome of provoking me will be the same as yours." You dare to provoke young Master Tian? You really have a way out. If you don't walk through hell, you'll just barge in. You brought this upon yourself. A radiant priest actually dares to provoke young Master Tian. There's no need for young Master Tian to make a move at all. This fellow can be killed 10 times. When some of the surrounding disciples saw young Master Tian being completely enraged, they raised their heads and shouted at Wang Xian while trying to curry favor with him. Wang Xian stopped and swept his gaze across the crowd surrounding him. He swept his gaze across the disciples who were trying to curry favor with young Master Tian and reprimanded him. Finally, his gaze landed on young Master Tian. A hint of coldness and arrogance flashed across his eyes. Ending? In my opinion, all of you, including the two of you, are trash. Wang Xian looked at young Master Tian and young Master Di and said coldly. As soon as he said that, everyone was shocked. They stared at Wang Xian in disbelief. At this moment, he actually dared to provoke young Master Tian and young Master Di. Furthermore, this time, it was a blatant humiliation. Calling the two young masters of heaven and earth as trash. This was simply too arrogant. He was really seeking his own death. Cool, this is simply too cool. At the side, when He Suiwen heard Wang Xian's words, a fiery look shot out from his eyes as he roared in his heart. Fuck, as expected of the sky demon. So what if you are the master of heaven and earth? I will call you both trash in front of you. This is simply too domineering. You are indeed worthy of the name of the Sky Demon. There are too many words for a dead person. A terrifying killing intent suddenly shot out of young Master Tion's eyes. Young Master D also raised his head slightly. The crown on his head emitted a faint pressure. I really didn't expect that Priest Wang to have such terrifying strength. He single-handedly destroyed 2 rank 7 void interpretation experts, and in a short period of time, he destroyed a second-rate force and established the Heartless Sword Path sect. At this moment, Wu Qingqing's eyes were still filled with shock as he walked towards the Black Lotus Lake. Beside him were Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan. We also didn't expect that he would actually. He's actually so monstrous. Heavens, a rank 7 profound void martial expert who's not even 30 years old, and he killed 2 rank 7 profound void martial experts. This is too heaven-defying. No wonder we went over to teach him a lesson and were easily defeated by him. At this moment, Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan's small faces were also filled with shock. Not long ago, they had gotten their subordinates to look for Priest Wang's information and sent it to them. As a super force, the information of the Wuji Empire was unparalleled in the entire vast region. In just a few days, all the information about Wang Xian was gathered. When they saw the contents of the information, the 3 of them were stunned for a very, very long time. One was a 7th-level see-through void martial artist who was less than 30 years old, while the other was a peerless genius. The so-called heaven's favorites in the vast region, even Wu Qingcheng, felt that they were trash in Wang Xian's eyes. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan's mouths were slightly agape. They recalled the last time when the 2 of them rushed over to teach him a lesson. If Wang Xian really let them off, he could easily crush them to death. How could a young man from that small place in Luhai district be so heaven-defying? Chapter 1546. 1546 Suppressing all the heavens' favorites 9. Oh right brother, how do you know that priest Wang Xian Wang? At this moment, Wu Qingyan, who was rushing to the banquet venue, asked her brother curiously. They had already sent their subordinates to look for information on Wang Xian. When they were reporting to them, they found out that her brother was also sending people to look for information on him. Huh? Wu Qingqing was slightly taken aback. He coughed lightly and said faintly, I bumped into him by accident 2 days ago and realized that he was extraordinary. He was a dragon among men, so I did some research. I even gave him an invitation letter for today's banquet. He should be here today. Wu Qingqing said directly without blushing or gasping for breath. He couldn't possibly say that he was met by that young man and was intimidated by him. He even asked for an invitation letter from him. It was simply too embarrassing to say that. How could he retain the image of being invincible in the hearts of his 2 younger sisters? He will be here? This fellow has said that I'm the daughter of light and I'm trash in front of him. What the hell? Wu Qingyan snorted coldly when she heard that Wang Xian was coming over. Wu Qingqing smiled when he heard his sister's words. However, with his strength, not only am I trash in front of him, even you, brother, are trash in front of him. However, Wu Qingqing's smile soon froze. He wanted to vomit blood when he heard his sister's words. The image of him being invincible in his sister's heart. However, he wasn't in the least bit jealous of the mysterious and monstrous Wang Xian. When a person's strength far surpassed his own and he had to look up to him, there wouldn't be any jealousy in a person's heart. There would only be respect and worship. Although he didn't have to worship that young man, he was extremely fearful in his heart. Such a person would either not be his enemy or he would have a 100% certainty of killing him. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble in the future. Even for the Wuji Empire, there was a possibility of endless trouble in the future. According to the news, that priest Wang came to the vast region to look for a woman. I didn't expect him to be a person who values friendship. Wu Qingyan, who was at the side, suddenly said, Indeed, I'm a little envious of that girl. Wu Qingyan nodded. A Heaven's Pride expert had traveled the entire vast region in order to look for a woman. Although they had received a lot of information, there was one thing that they didn't know. That was that Wang Xian had transformed into a demonic dragon. At that time, Wang Xian was concealed by the He clan's patriarch and a group of experts using a formation. Other than the He clan and He Sui clan's higher-ups who knew about it, no one else knew about it. There are too many dead people. Kill him for me. Just as they arrived at the banquet area in front of the Black Lotus Lake, a cold voice suddenly sounded. The voice stunned Wu Qingyan and the rest of them. They looked ahead. When Wu Qingqing saw a group of people gathered in front of him and someone in the middle took out a weapon, his expression instantly turned cold. What interesting thing happened? Why didn't you inform me in advance? Everyone. Wu Qingqing saw that someone was causing trouble at his banquet. His body emitted a wave of pressure as he charged forward. His voice resounded in everyone's mind. In the center, the people from the Bingxin Empire and the disciples of the solipsistic sect were surrounding Wang Xian. Young Master Tian and Young Master Di stood there as though they were the center of the world. They opened their mouths to judge. Just as they were about to make their move, the voice of Wuqing City was heard. Hearing this voice, everyone was slightly shocked. Even the disciples of the solitaire sect who were about to make their move immediately stopped. The Crown Prince of Wuqing City of Wuji Imperial City is here. It's the voice of the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince is here. The voice of the Crown Prince is filled with anger. It seems that he is a little angry. Everyone around was slightly shocked and quickly turned to the back. His Highness the Crown Prince. His Highness the Crown Prince. Everyone quickly called out respectfully. Today's banquet was organized by His Highness the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. This was the territory of the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. Anyone who came would have to give face, even if it was the two young masters of heaven and earth. Wu Qingqing walked towards the center of the hall with great strides. Everyone quickly made way for him. What happened? He asked in a deep voice with no expression on his face. Crown Prince of Wu Qingqing, long time no see. Someone is provoking us here. We might have to trouble you today. Next time, heaven and earth will return the favor. The two young masters of heaven and earth raised their brows slightly when they saw Wuqing City walking over. A faint smile appeared on their faces as they said this. After all, this was Wuqing City's territory. If they were outside, they could ignore Wuqing City and directly kill that brat. But here, he had to give Wuqing City some face. Oh, that fellow Southern Emperor Wudi didn't come. Who else would dare to provoke you? Wu Qingqing continued to walk inside. He looked at the two young masters of heaven and earth and was slightly surprised. Behind him, Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan also followed behind with faces full of confusion. Other than their own brother and Southern Emperor Wudi, who else would dare to provoke the two heavens and earth's proud sons of heaven of our sect? There are always some people who want to die. Give us some face and we'll return it to you next time. Young Master Tian smiled at Wu Qingqing. Wu Qingqing also smiled when he heard young Master Tian's words. The face of the elites of the only sect in the world was still very valuable. He had invited them over this time for the Heart of Darkness fruit. He could ask the only sect to help him look for it. Who doesn't know? Wu Qingqing had already made up his mind. As he spoke, he looked at the figures surrounded in the middle. However, before he could finish his words, he swallowed them and a look of astonishment flashed across his eyes. He pursed his lips. Why didn't I think of this? Besides me and Nangong Wudi, he was the only one who dared to provoke these two guys. Wu Qingqing thought to himself. His mind was full of thoughts. He didn't expect that the people of my sect would have a conflict with him the moment he obtained the information about this monster. It's him. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan, who were standing behind Wu Qingqing, were astonished when they saw Wang Xian who was surrounded in the middle. Princess Qingyan, it's this guy. This disrespectful guy actually dares to insult you, princess. Wu Qingyan exclaimed in surprise, causing Tian Qingguang and Tian Qingyuan from the Divine Light Empire to move their eyes slightly. They quickly walked over and pointed at Wang Xian. So this guy has provoked Princess Qingyan before. That's great. I'll get rid of this piece of trash today. Young Master Tian revealed a faint smile on his face and gestured to the disciples of the Solitaire sect. No! 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 However, just as young Master Tian finished his sentence, 3 voices of rejection came from the mouths of Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan. Chapter 1547. 1547 Suppressing All Heaven's Favorites 10. 3 no came from the mouths of Wu Qingyan and the other 2. The 3 voices caused everyone around to be slightly stunned, and their faces revealed astonishment. The smiles in Tian Qingguang and Tian Qingyuan's eyes immediately froze. They originally thought that the crown prince of Wu Qingqing, Princess Wu Qingyan, and the others would agree, but they didn't think that they would actually refuse. They did not even give face to the 2 heavens favorites of the unitary sect in heaven and earth. Brother Wu Qingqing, you can't even give face to them. When young Master Tian and young Master Di saw that Wu Qingqing rejected him directly, they frowned slightly and asked coldly with a slightly unpleasant expression. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan shut their mouths and looked at their brother. They said that they could not because they did not want to see Wang Xian being attacked by the people of the unitary sect. They didn't have any grudges with him to begin with. Moreover, after reading the information, they felt a slight admiration for Wang Xian. A peerless heaven's favorite who was less than 30 years old and a young man who had set foot on the vast territory in search of a woman who valued friendship and loyalty. Naturally, they didn't want him to encounter any bad things. It's not that I don't want to give face to young Master Tian and young Master Di. Wu Qingqing looked at Wang Xian who was standing there calmly. His gaze was fixed on the 2 people in the sky and on the ground. Everyone who came today was invited by my Wu Qingqing. Since they gave me face and came here, my Wu Qingqing naturally has to ensure their safety. I won't care if they leave my territory. However, in my territory, everything will be done according to my rules. Wu Qingqing stood there and spoke to everyone with a domineering expression. He had the right to be so domineering. This was his territory. As long as he said no, no one could oppose it, not even the 2 heavens favorites from my sect. Of course, if the target of the 2 heavens and earth's attacks was not Wang Xian, Wu Qingqing would definitely give them face. However, it was this extremely talented young man, a powerhouse at level 7 of the see-through realm who was not even 30 years old. He did not dare to agree because no one present could make that young man stay. If he were to give face to the 2 heavens favorites from heaven and earth, he would be offending a powerhouse with unlimited potential in the future. Between the 2 of them, he knew what to choose. Therefore, he said no without hesitation. Of course, he had no intention of revealing Wang Xian's strength. He was happy to see the conflict between the only sect and an exceptional genius. Wu Qingqing, we didn't expect you to be such a principled person. Young Master Tian and young Master Di looked at each other and mocked with a slightly displeased expression. Since Wu Qingqing had already disapproved, they naturally couldn't continue to attack. In my territory, no one is allowed to attack. If we attack, it would be disrespecting Wu Qingqing. Outside of my residence, I won't care what young Master Tian and young Master Di want to do. Wu Qingqing said in an unquestionable tone. The aura of the imperial court emanated from within. The name of the crown prince lived up to its name. His aura also caused the disciples of the surrounding factions to show respect on their faces. Even outside of your residence, you can't care about it. Young Master Tian and young Master Di spoke coldly. They looked at Wang Xian with a cold look in their eyes. They said faintly, I will let you live for 2 more hours. Cherish the last 2 hours. When the surrounding crowd heard the words of the 2 heavens favorites, they stared at Wang Xian with flickering eyes. This guy is dead for sure. Even if the crown prince of Wuqing City doesn't agree to fight here, young Master Tian and young Master Di will make a move immediately after leaving this place. That's right. With the 2 young masters of heaven and earth, they can completely ignore all the rules. I reckon that guy will be killed when he goes out. The He clan and the He Sui clan will not be able to protect him. Who asked that guy to be so arrogant? He actually said that the two young masters of heaven and earth are trash. He's simply courting death. The surrounding people whispered as they looked at the cold expressions of the two heavens favorites of the solitaire sect in the sky and earth. Wu Qingcheng's gaze swept over the two of them. A trace of mockery flashed in his eyes. You might not know who you have provoked. I've said that you are trash. You are trash. Wang Xian looked at the two heavens favorites from the solitaire sect in the sky and earth and said with disdain, "How dare he make a ruckus?" When they saw Wang Xian speaking directly about the two heavens favorites from the solitaire sect in the sky and earth again, everyone was slightly shocked. They stared at Wang Xian. When the young masters of heaven and earth saw Wang Xian speaking directly about them as trash again, they clenched their fists and let out crisp sounds. This was the first time in history, that someone dared to provoke and insult them continuously. A terrifying murderous aura erupted from the two of them as they charged towards Wang Xian. Wuqing City, give us some face. We can get the lone sect to help you find the heart of darkness. Young Master Tian turned his gaze towards Wuqing City and spoke coldly again. Wu Qingcheng was extremely moved, but he still shook his head. My rules cannot be changed. No one can make a move on me. All right. Young Master Tian and Young Master Di slowly retracted their killing intent and exhaled heavily as they said coldly, "There is no point in talking anymore. We can wait for 2 hours." The corners of Young Master Tian's mouth curled up as a devilish smile appeared on his face. He wanted to kill someone, personally. When everyone saw the expression on Prince Tian's face, they felt a chill in their hearts. You guys can afford to wait, but I can't. I'm sorry, the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. I can't give you face. However, at this moment, Wang Xian's voice rang out once again. When He Yuan heard Wang Xian's words, the corner of his mouth twitched and he shook his head helplessly. He Sui Wen revealed a shocked and excited expression. Wu Qingcheng was stunned. He looked at Wang Xian with a stunned expression. He had a bad premonition in his heart. Huh? Young Master Tian and Young Master Di turned their eyes to Wang Xian abruptly. There was a hint of astonishment in their eyes. Everyone around was stunned when they heard this sudden sentence. Is the world ruled by me? At the moment when everyone was stunned, Wang Xian's laughter rang out once again. He stared at Young Master Tian and Young Master Di with disdain in his eyes. All of you are just ants in my eyes. As he spoke, he waved the staff of light in his hand. Two incomparably resplendent palms of light attacked Young Master Tian and Young Master Di directly. At this moment, everyone felt that this priest Wang had gone mad. He actually dared to attack Young Master Tian and Young Master Di. He actually didn't give face to the Crown Prince of Wuqing City and actually attacked. Is this guy a madman? Chapter 1548. 1548 above the 1548 chosen ones. Madman. Madman. This priest Wang was completely a madman. He directly attacked Young Master Tian and Young Master Di. He completely disregarded the face of the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. This guy was simply crazy. The Crown Prince of Wuqing City had just said that no one was allowed to make a move in his territory, or else he wouldn't give him face. In this place, even Young Master Tian and Young Master Di did not dare to disobey the words of the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. Neither of them dared to slap his face. However, now, Wang Xian had made a move right after Wuqing City had said so. This was simply a slap to the face of the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. He did not give the Crown Prince any face at all. It was a hard slap to the face. He had angered the solipsistic sect and now he had provoked the Wuji Empire. In this vast region, if he was not a madman, what else could he be? You're courting death. No one can save you today. When Young Master Tian and Young Master Di saw that Wang Xian was going to attack him directly, a powerful aura of the third level of the see-through realm erupted from their bodies instantly. An aura of the solipsistic sect was completely emitted. Those who were close to them hurriedly retreated. When Wu Qingqing heard Wang Xian's words, his face instantly turned black. A slap to the face. It was a blatant slap to the face. What he said earlier was to prevent the two of them from attacking each other. However, he had forgotten about Wang Xian and his reaction. He had forgotten how Wang Xian, who was a peerless genius, would react. Now that he saw Wang Xian attacking him directly, his expression changed. His face turned dark and the corner of his mouth twitched. He had already decided not to offend Wang Xian. Now that he had been slapped in the face, he could only stay close to him. Die! Young Master Tian and Young Master Di's voice was heard. Both of them stared at the bright arm that Wang Xian had released. They waved their arms that were filled with killing intent. An incomparably huge green palm attacked the arm of light effortlessly. Bang! However, the moment the arm of light collided with the wind attribute palm, the two palms seemed to have been cleansed. The arm of light was not hindered in the slightest. With an even faster speed, it attacked towards the two young masters of heaven and earth. Gua! Cough, cough, cough. Seeing the moment the palm dissipated and the arm of light attacking them, the two of them revealed terrified expressions. Before they could finish their words, the arm grabbed their necks and lifted them into the air, coughing. What? How is this possible? Oh my God, this is... Before young Master Tian and young Master Di could finish their words, everyone around them had incredulous looks on their faces as they cried out involuntarily. What kind of situation was this? How was this possible? Instant kill. One of the three great superpowers of the vast region, the lone sect, the two most monstrous and powerful heaven's chosen disciples of the current generation were actually instant killed. Without the slightest ability to resist, they were held by the necks of two bright arms and hung in the air. Especially since the one who attacked was a young man. This was impossible. Unbelievable. Everyone's mouth was slightly agape and their bodies were trembling. Some of them even rubbed their eyes fiercely. They were one of the top 5 heaven's favorites in the entire vast region. When Wu Qingqing saw this scene, he swallowed a mouthful of saliva and a bitter expression appeared on his face. Brother Wang Xian, don't kill me. Give me some face. Wu Qingqing immediately shouted at Wang Xian with a pained expression. He was really afraid that Wang Xian would kill the most outstanding heaven's favorite of our sect right here and now. At that time, even if he didn't make a move, he wouldn't be able to get away with it. Don't worry, I won't kill them. However, Wang Xian nodded his head at Wu Qingqing indifferently as he looked at the two people in the sky and on the ground whose necks were held by Guang Ming's arms. Their faces were flushed red and they were in disbelief. Don't you guys want to know my strength and background? He looked at the two of them and asked faintly. Cough, cough. The two of them were floating in the air and staring at Wang Xian. They were completely unable to speak after being held down by the powerful force of the arm of light. A look of shock slowly appeared in their eyes that were filled with disbelief. Put our senior brother down. Otherwise, our sect will not let you off. In the surroundings, all the disciples of the sect finally snapped out of their daze. With an extremely embarrassed expression, they shouted at Wang Xian sternly. Shut up! Wang Xian swept his gaze across the people surrounding him and waved his arm gently. In the sky, he held down the arms of the two people in the sky and ground. Together with their bodies, they swept towards the people surrounding him. The speed was so fast that they didn't even have time to react. Ah! Screams came from the surroundings. Among them were the screams of young Master Tian and young Master Di. At this moment, their faces were covered in blood under the powerful collision. Their pathetic bodies didn't look as high and mighty as before. Even a few of their teeth were missing. Was he the supreme? Was he high and mighty? How could he still have any imposing manner? Everyone from the Bingxin Empire and the solipsistic sect who surrounded Wang Xian was sent flying. It was a miserable scene. Gulp. All the disciples from the surrounding factions gulped and looked at this scene in astonishment. If they didn't hear wrongly, the crown prince of Wuqing City had addressed this priest Wang as Brother Wang Xian. He even said that he would give me some face. They had a vague guess that the prince of Wuqing City might know this priest Wang and understand some of his strength. This young man's strength might even cause the crown prince of Wuqing City to be a little apprehensive. Fourth level of the void interpretation stage, or even higher. Could it be that he had a powerful background? Impossible. There was no background in the vast region that was stronger than Wuqing City. Then there was only one. This priest Wang was very strong and talented. He was so strong that even the crown prince of Wuqing City was wary of him. Bang! At this moment, the bodies of young Master Tian and young Master Di in the sky collided violently once again. Both of them fell to the ground. The two of them fell to the ground. The bright arm that was holding their necks dispersed and they let out a miserable scream. They stared at Wang Xian and their expressions changed drastically. A hint of fear grew in their hearts. They were actually killed by this young man in an instant. In front of me, heaven's favorites like you are just trash. Remember, don't be arrogant in front of me in the future. Wang Xian said as he looked at young Master Tian and young Master Di, whose faces were filled with fear. I'm sorry, Wuqing City's crown prince. He looked at Wuqing City and spoke again. His gaze swept over Yuan and the rest, and he nodded his head faintly. Following that, his gaze landed on Ling Jian. At this moment, Ling Jian was staring at him with a look of astonishment in her eyes. Wang Xian smiled at her faintly and walked out. Behind him, all the young men and women from all the forces were staring at his back with shock. Until disappeared. Chapter 1549. 1549 above and below the 1549 heaven's favorites. Gulp. Oh my God, just how strong is he? He didn't even give face to the crown prince of Wuqing City and directly beat up the two peerless heaven's favorites of our sect. This is also. Until that figure disappeared, the eyes of the rest of the people in the banquet hall were burning with passion. They couldn't help but say, their voices trembling. The two peerless geniuses of the supreme sect in heaven and earth, who stood high and mighty, questioned and judged that young man in an arrogant manner. In the end, they were directly abused. They didn't have the slightest bit of resistance. They didn't even give face to the crown prince of Wuqing City. They directly made a move here. From the beginning to the end, when that priest Wang made a move, the crown prince of Wuqing City didn't say anything. Wuqing City. At this moment, a sinister voice came from the side. Everyone turned their heads when they heard this voice and quickly looked towards the ground. Young Master Tian and young Master Di slowly stood up in a sorry state. Their faces were extremely gloomy and their eyes were filled with a humiliating and crazy killing intent. Who is he? The two of them gritted their teeth and asked word by word in a somewhat crazy manner. He is someone you can't defeat. Wu Qingcheng looked at the two heaven's favorites in the sky and ground and shook his head slowly. He continued, this time, you have provoked a tough opponent. Tell us, who is he? The two of them roared in a low voice and asked again. According to the information I got, he doesn't have any background, but his strength can completely defeat you. Just as he said, you are no different from ants in front of him. Wu Qingqing didn't open his mouth to mock the two of them. After all, he had just been slapped in the face. We so-called geniuses are no different from trash in front of him. After pondering for a few seconds, Wu Qingcheng also said with a slight sigh. How could there be such a monstrous existence in this world? What? However, when the crowd heard Wu Qingcheng's evaluation, they were shocked. Wu Qingcheng was the top heaven's pride in the entire vast region. How could he say that he was trash in front of Priest Wang? However, when they thought about how Priest Wang easily abused the heaven's pride and earth's pride, they fell silent again. Above the heaven's pride. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan, who were standing beside Wu Qingcheng, slowly spat out these words. They didn't know how to describe this kind of peerless monster. They could only describe him as above the heavens' pride. An existence above all the heavens' pride. Above the heavens' pride? Bullshit above the heavens' pride. If he dares to humiliate us today, we will definitely send him to the netherworld one day. All the peerless experts who haven't matured aren't experts. We want him to die. Young Master Tian's face was filled with malevolence as he roared in a low voice. We want him dead. Young Master D similarly clenched his fist in a malevolent manner. The two of them exchanged a glance, their eyes filled with killing intent as they walked out. The people from Lone's sect who had fallen to the ground hurriedly got up and followed. Bing Jinghuan's breathing was somewhat hurried as he stood there. He did not dare to directly leave like the two Heaven's Pride experts from Lone's sect. He could only stand there quietly with a gloomy face. The fellow who was pestering his junior sister was beyond his imagination. He's too cool, he's too cool. Yi Suiwen stood there and said excitedly, that brother Wang Xian is my idol. I'm just afraid that young Master Tian and young Master D will get the experts of the Solitaire sect to deal with brother Wang Xian. He Yuan asked worriedly. With young Master Wang's strength, unless it's an expert at level 8 of the see-through void tier, these two young masters of heaven and earth can't order such an expert. He Suiqing whispered beside He Yuan. That's true. With brother Wang Xian's strength, unless it's an expert at level 8 of the see-through void tier, such an expert wouldn't fight for the sake of two heaven's favorites. He Yuan smiled. Little Yuan, the crown prince of Wuqing City is here. At this moment, Lin Yaoyao reminded him. He Yuan was slightly taken aback. When he saw Wuqing City walking towards him, he immediately went forward to welcome him. Forest Beastmaster, I've long heard of your great name. Wuqing City walked over. His eyes flickered as he sized up He Yuan and extended his hand with a smile. Hello, Crown Prince of Wuqingqing. Compared to you, I still have a lot to learn. He Yuan said with a hint of respect. Although both of them were equally famous, there was still a huge gap between their backgrounds and status. Young master, he is too modest. I heard that you and young Master Wang Xian are very good friends. Wu Qingqing smiled and chatted with He Yuan. Although Wang Xian did not give him face today and slapped him in the face, he was not too narrow-minded. Moreover, with the two heavens favorites from the Solitaire sect in front of them, the two of them were the ones who lost face. Now that they had formed a complete enmity with Wang Xian, he was happy to see that. When He Yuan saw Wu Qingqing asking about Wang Xian, his mind was full of thoughts. He had nothing to hide. Other than the matter of Wang Xian being a sky demon, he told the truth about everything else. Miss Ling Jian is really beautiful. No wonder young Master Wang Xian was able to travel hundreds of thousands of miles to the vast region to look for you. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan whispered to each other in a corner. They looked at Ling Jian and walked over to greet her with a smile. Princess Qingyan, Princess Qingyan, my name is Bing Jian. My name is not Ling Jian. Ling Jian looked at them and said with a slight frown. What? You are not Ling Jian? You are clearly. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan were slightly stunned. Is there anyone in the world who looks so similar? Ling Jian stood at the side with her brows tightly knitted. She thought carefully and did not recall Ling Jian, Wang Xian, or the middle-aged man who said he was her father. But why would it be so easy for others to say it? Princess Qingyan, Princess Qing, can you tell me about that Wang Xian? Ling Jian hesitated for a moment before asking. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan looked at each other and nodded. Bing Jinghuan, who was standing at the side, had a drastic change in expression when he heard their conversation. He knew that Ling Jian was someone their ancestor met by accident. When he met her, her entire body was covered in injuries as she was fighting with others. After he rescued her, she immediately fainted. Only the word Jian was engraved on the sword in her hand. After she woke up, she had forgotten her own name. Her family and friends, the patriarch had named her Bing Jian. Could it be? Ling Jian was really the person that the evildoer youth had looked for. This caused his expression to be extremely ugly. Ling Jian was the woman that he had decided on internally. The banquet did not stop because of what had just happened. However, throughout the entire banquet, everyone was talking about Priest Wang. They were talking about the two heavens favorites from the solipsistic sect. Some people guessed that young Master Tian and young Master Di would definitely take revenge, and the solipsistic sect would definitely take revenge as well. There were also people who said that Priest Wang would be killed by the solipsistic sect. So what if he was above a Heaven's Pride expert? As long as he wasn't a peerless expert, the so-called above a Heaven's Pride expert was no different from an ordinary person in front of an absolute expert. Chapter 1550. 1550 1550 Souls of Darkness. What happened at the banquet of the Crown Prince of Wuqing City today would definitely cause a stir in the entire vast region. The name of Priest Wang would definitely spread across the entire vast region. A young man above a Heaven's Pride would rise up strongly. However, just as many people were discussing Wang Xian, he was currently staying on the roof of the courtyard where Ling Jian was staying. He was quietly comprehending the situation where light and darkness intersected. The trip to the banquet today made him feel extremely helpless. Ling Jian didn't like him at all. She might even hate him a little. This gave him a headache. He thought that he was a graceful and peerless handsome man. Why was it so difficult to deal with Ling Jian? Junior sister Jian, don't come into contact with Priest Wang in the future. That fellow has offended solipsistic sect. He will definitely become a dead man in the future. I can't let him drag you down. After about 2 hours, a voice came from the courtyard. Wang Xian leaned against the shadow on the roof and looked down. I know, senior brother. I'm going to cultivate. All right. Junior sister, rest early. Bing Jinghuan walked Ling Jian to the door and waved at him before leaving. Ling Jian opened the door and entered the room. If not for Jian forgetting her feelings now and you being her senior brother, I would have killed you long ago. Wang Xian, who was on the roof, heard Bing Jinghuan speak ill of him. His eyes revealed a hint of coldness as he muttered, "Huh." He looked down and realized that Ling Jian was not cultivating immediately. Instead, she was sitting in front of the table with a statue in her hand. She was observing her quietly. Is it useful? Wang Xian revealed a hint of joy on his face. However, it didn't take long before Ling Jian sat cross-legged on the bed and continued to cultivate. Wang Xian scanned the room and continued to comprehend the blending of light and darkness. The next morning, he placed 2 statues at Ling Jian's door as usual. He looked at them with a smile on his face. Not long after, the door opened and Ling Jian, who was dressed in golden clothes, walked out. When she saw the statue that appeared at her door every day, her eyes lit up and she picked it up. She looked at her statue and then looked at the statue of the young man. After a moment of hesitation, she placed them all into her interspatial ring. In the next 2 days, the events that happened on the day the Crown Prince of Wuqing City held a banquet shook the entire ruins of the Divine Kingdom. Priest Wang and Wang Xian, these 2 names shocked everyone. Above the Heaven's Pride, there was an invincible youth. Even the Crown Prince of Wuqing City said that in front of him, he was trash. One could imagine how powerful and terrifying that Priest Wang would be. This incident, coupled with the fact that Wang Xian had cured nearly 100,000 people for free in the past, made him famous. He even gained quite a number of supporters. Some people even stated that they wanted to follow Priest Wang. Of course, there were also some people who thought that this Priest Wang was too arrogant. Only my sect would not let him off. The entire ruins of the Divine Kingdom was in an uproar. However, Wang Xian did not take all of this to heart. He turned into a peeping devil and followed around Ling Jian. When he had nothing to do, he would study the blending of light and darkness. This won't do. Currently, the power of the light and dark dragon bead is too weak. Once it enters the Tai Chi diagram formed by the heart of light and darkness, it will melt directly. It won't be able to move. I need to raise the level of the light and dark divine dragon bead. In a corner of Ling Jian'er's courtyard, Wang Xian looked at the location of his heart and pondered in his hearts. He was prepared to transform the heart of darkness into the appearance of the Taiji diagram. He would use 2 intelligent light and dark divine dragons to operate the Taiji diagram to prevent the light and dark from being out of balance. Once he succeeded, he would complete the fusion of light and dark. However, he realized that the power of the light and dark dragon bead was not enough to affect the entire Taiji diagram. He needed to upgrade the level. To upgrade the level of the light and dark dragon pearls, I need a large number of light and dark pearls. Moreover, I need high-level ones. This is a little troublesome. Wang Xian frowned slightly. The light and dark pearls were originally considered very precious items. Currently, the light and dark dragon pearls in his hands belonged to the 7th level of the see-through realm. The 7th level of the see-through realm was considered very high. In order to upgrade the level, he needed at least 20 to 30 light and dark pearls of the 7th level of the see-through realm. It was very difficult to obtain so many pearls of light and darkness. Perhaps only the existence of the 3 superpowers would be able to take out 20 to 30 pearls in one go. Princess Bingjian, the 9th prince, and the rest are waiting for you outside. At this moment, a voice came from the side. Wang Xian looked over and a maid said to Ling Jian, "Are we leaving? I'll head over now." Ling Jian'er nodded. She sheathed the long sword in her hand and walked out. Is the black curtain garden about to open? Wang Xian followed behind her with his eyes flickering. The Black Curtain Garden was an entrance to the medicinal garden in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. Experts above level 4 of the Profound Void tier were prohibited from entering, including those at level 4 of the Profound Void tier. There were large amounts of spirit herbs in the Black Curtain Garden. Even the lowest grade spirit herbs were at least at Transcendent tier 8 or 9. There were even many spirit herbs at Profound Void tier. There were even spirit herbs at Profound Void tier 7 or 8. However, there were large amounts of darkness souls in the Black Curtain Garden. Especially those precious spirit herbs. They had darkness souls protecting them. If one wanted to pick the spirit herbs, they had to destroy the darkness souls protecting them. The Black Curtain Garden opened once every 100 years. Every time it opened, it was a grand event for the entire vast region. It was also a massacre. Wang Xian followed behind Ling Jian'er and walked out. If Ling Jian'er wanted to enter the Black Curtain Garden, he had to guard the surroundings. Although the Black Curtain Garden limited the realms of the people who entered, the extremely powerful soul of darkness, who had lived for thousands of years and was a level 3 void interpretation expert, was also a dangerous place for Ling Jian. Junior Sister Jian, our Ice Heart Empire has sent more than 500 experts into the Black Curtain Garden this time. Among them, there are 200 insightful Void Realm experts. When the time comes, we will follow the strongest team and hope to return with a full load. Seeing Ling Jian'er walking over, Bing Jinghuan went up to her with a smile and said to her, "We will listen to senior brother's arrangements." Ling Jian'er nodded her head. "All right, let's go. We will head to the interior of the Kingdom of God's ruins first. Our people are already waiting there." Bing Jinghuan smiled and nodded his head. He followed the group of people and flew towards the interior of the Kingdom of God's ruins. Wang Xian followed behind and looked ahead. He looked at the gigantic statue and the dark area in front of him. This was Wang Xian's first time stepping into the Kingdom of God's ruins. In the sky, there were many people flying towards the ruins of the Kingdom of God. Among them, there were hundreds of experts at the insightful void level. The opening of the Black Curtain Garden had affected all the forces in the entire vast region. Even third-rate forces or even unrated forces would send people over. This was because this was the ruins of the Kingdom of God. It was an area left behind by a demigod who wanted to build his Kingdom of God. Chapter 1551. 1551 in the Soul of Darkness. Vast, majestic, and vast. Flying towards the interior of the Kingdom of God ruins, black trees that were 700 to 800 meters tall rose from the ground. Each tree was 10 meters thick. In front of them, there were many huge buildings that stood in the Kingdom of God forest. Every building was emitting a dark luster, containing the weight of history, as well as the black radiance, giving people a faint pressure. Especially the huge human-shaped sculpture in front of them, a human-shaped sculpture that was over 1,000 meters tall, with a black crown on its head. It held a pitch-black staff in its hand, and its pair of eyes looked disdainfully at the front, as if it was overlooking the entire world. Everyone looked at the sculpture, giving people a feeling of insignificance. Just a sculpture gave people a great pressure. One could imagine how powerful the owner of the ruins of the Kingdom of God was. What a strong dark energy! The deeper they flew in, the stronger the dark energy became. A huge building that stretched as far as the eye could see slowly appeared in their line of sight. Occasionally, terrifying roars could be heard from deep within. Some of the roars made Wang Xian's heart palpitate, as expected of the ruins of the Kingdom of God. Compared to this, the human-demon graveyard is like a small river compared to the sea. Wang Xian looked at the world in front of him with a shocked expression. Even a level 3 dragon palace could not be compared to this place. The entire building in front of him was emitting a restrictive force. This force was not a formation but a special type of confinement. If a demigod wants to become a god, he needs to build his own divine kingdom. The gods in the divine kingdom are invincible. They can establish their own order. Although this is just the ruins of the divine kingdom, there are still some remnants of divine power. Wang Xian looked ahead and thought to himself. Following behind Ling Jian'er and the rest, they flew past the 1,000-meter-tall statue and entered a cluster of buildings that stretched as far as the eye could see. The ruins of the Kingdom of God covered an area of 10,000 kilometers. However, the space of the ruins of the Kingdom of God was more than 10,000 kilometers. That was because there was another space in the ruins of the Kingdom of God. No one knew how big the entire ruins of the Kingdom of God was. Those are the people from our Bingxin Empire. After flying for 4 hours, Bing Jinghuan's voice sounded in front of them. Wang Xian looked ahead and revealed a look of astonishment. Hundreds of thousands of people were gathered in front of them. In front of the hundreds of thousands of people, there was a huge black door. On the top of the huge black door were 3 ancient characters, Black Screen Garden. In front of the huge door of Black Screen Garden, 3 very eye-catching forces stood there. The Wuji Empire, the Solipsistic sect, and the Southern Royal Family. The 3 forces were at the front. Behind them were the He clan, a dark race that was shrouded in darkness, and a group of first-rate forces in the vast region. As for the people behind them, they were all dressed in black and had their bodies shrouded in darkness. Junior Sister Jian, we have to be careful when we enter the Black Screen Garden. Do you see the rear? Apart from the 3 superpowers and our first-rate factions, the people sent by the other factions are all dressed in black to hide their identities and factions. The reason they are doing this is to compete with US and even the 3 superforces. When they encounter a high-level spiritual herb, they will not care about your background. Also, the demon beasts living in the forest of the divine kingdom control an entrance that we don't know about. They will be able to enter the Black Curtain Garden too. When they encounter the demon beasts, they will take action immediately. Bing Jinghuan brought Ling Jian'er and flew towards the location of the Bingxin Empire. She introduced them to her in a low voice. Ling Jian'er nodded her head. Her gaze swept across the surroundings and she was extremely solemn. Also, the Black Curtain Garden has been open for a month. You can enter and leave as you wish along the way. However, there will be people lying in ambush at the exit of the Black Curtain Garden. There are also experts at level 3 of the see-through realm lying in ambush here, waiting for an opportunity to strike. However, we don't have to worry. There will be experts from our Bingxin Empire here to receive us. Bing Jinghuan continued speaking to Ling Jian'er. Wang Xian scanned his surroundings and hesitated for a moment. His body moved and his entire body was covered by a black robe. A faint demonic aura emanated from his body. Now that the light and darkness had been balanced, Wang Xian would not be possessed as long as he did not suffer a huge blow. After entering the black screen garden, he was prepared to use his dark identity to protect Ling Jianar in the dark. Boom, 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 boom. At this moment, a series of booming sounds suddenly rang out, causing the slightly silent surroundings to instantly boil with excitement. The door to the black screen garden has opened. The door has opened. This time, I must obtain even more spiritual herbs. The land of treasures is about to open. A commotion could be heard from the surroundings as excited voices rang out one after another. Many people who were covered in black robes had excited looks in their eyes. The gate of the black screen garden has been opened. If anyone can get the black screen heart fruit, I'm willing to buy it for twice the price. At this moment, Wu Qingcheng's loud laughter could be heard. His figure moved and flew directly into the black screen garden. Behind him were over 1,000 experts. Let's go in too. Let's charge in. Seeing the people from the Wuji Empire enter, the rest of the people in the surroundings rushed in frantically. The people from the Bingxin Empire also flew in quickly. 2 experts at level 7 of the see-through realm were stationed here, waiting for their return. Wang Xian's figure moved and followed behind them. But after passing through the gate of the black curtain garden, Wang Xian suddenly felt as though he had entered another dimension. Tens of thousands of people were gathered around him. In the black curtain garden, those above level 3 of the see-through realm are not allowed to enter. Here, other than the creatures inside, I am an invincible existence. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile on his face. His gaze was locked onto Ling Jianar as he followed behind her like a ghost. Let's go there. After passing through the gate of the black screen garden, it was as though there was a forest in front of them. It was extremely huge. Numerous trees rose into the sky. Those who entered immediately spread out and flew towards the surroundings. This was a land of treasures. First come, first served. 20 people to a small team. Spread out and act according to the plan. In the Bingxin Empire, Bing Jinghuan ordered everyone around him. The 500 people immediately split into 25 teams. Those who stayed beside Bing Jinghuan and Ling Jianar were all powerhouses at the peak of the 3rd level of the see-through realm. Let's go deeper. Bing Jinghuan shouted loudly and quickly headed forward. A spiritual herb of the 7th level of transcendence. Wang Xian followed behind them. After flying for less than 1,000 meters, he saw a spiritual herb of the 7th level of transcendence in front of them. Bing Jinghuan and the rest obviously saw it too. However, they completely ignored it and continued flying forward. Spiritual herbs of level 7 extraordinaire can be seen everywhere. This black screen garden is really not simple. Wang Xian was shocked when he saw that they did not stop. Chapter 1552. 1552 Below the Soul of Darkness. The black screen garden was a corner of the medicinal garden, but even if it was just a corner, its area was still extremely terrifying. At least 100,000 people had entered, and they had only flown for half an hour. There were no longer any human figures around them, so one could imagine how vast the entire space was. Along the way, they encountered spiritual herbs below the profound void tier, but the people of the Ice Heart dynasty did not pluck them. Their target was obviously the insightful void tier spiritual herbs. Let's fly for another half an hour. There are more insightful void tier spiritual herbs there. An elder next to Ling Jian shouted loudly. Obviously, the Bingxin dynasty had made a lot of preparations for this black screen garden. They flew at a high speed again. There's a powerful fluctuation of the power of darkness ahead. It's an insightful void tier spiritual herb. Quick! The people of the Ice Heart Empire suddenly sensed the huge fluctuation coming from ahead, and they looked excited. It's a dark lychee. There are more than 10 dark lychees on it. They flew over. Bing Jinghuan stared at the area ahead and laughed crazily. At this moment, they were surrounded by endless black trees. In front of them, a 10-meter-tall tree was rooted there. The tree was very small and was very eye-catching in this space. However, it was emitting a strong dark energy. On the black trees here, there were more than 10 dark lychee hanging on them. They were emitting a life force and a pure dark energy. A spiritual fruit of the second level of the void interpretation realm. There are more than 10 of them on one tree. Isn't this black curtain garden too crazy? Wang Xian stared at the dark lychee spirit fruit in shock. No wonder so many people risked their lives to enter the black curtain garden after it was opened. All the factions had even gathered here. Be careful. The spirit tree at the second level of the void interpretation realm is definitely protected by the soul of darkness. At this moment, an elder from the Iceheart Empire reminded him. He looked around carefully and was filled with vigilance. Over there. This is different from the soul of darkness that invaded Yin Haoyan's body. Wang Xian, who was hiding at the back, fixed his gaze on a tree 100 meters away from the dark lychee. His eyes were sparkling. It was a dark creature that was like a venomous snake. It didn't have a body of flesh and blood. It was completely formed from pure dark energy. Kill it over there. Be careful. Don't let it enter your body. Otherwise, you will die. An elder also noticed the soul of darkness hidden in the tree and shouted immediately. Leave it to the two of us. The two middle-aged men moved and attacked the soul of darkness directly. The two of them were at level 3 of the void interpretation stage. It was easy for them to fight against a level 2 void interpretation stage soul of darkness. Under their attacks, the soul of darkness was instantly divided into more than 10 sections. Wang Xian realized that the soul of darkness was weakened after being divided into sections. After being divided into more than 10 sections, it completely turned into clusters of dark energy. This dark energy slowly dissipated in the surrounding air. Good harvest. Let's go. Although it's just the beginning, we still have to hurry. Bing Jinghuan laughed out loud and kept all the dark lychees. The group continued to fly into the distance. To be able to obtain more than a dozen spiritual fruits of the second level of the void interpretation so easily, no wonder so many experts are attracted to this vast area. Wang Xian followed behind them. He stared at the dark lychee spiritual tree and moved his arm. However, just as he was about to put it into his storage spiritual bag, he realized that this dark lychee spiritual tree was trapped here by a special force. Even he couldn't take it away. No wonder they didn't take this spiritual tree away. Wang Xian thought to himself. Suddenly, his mind stirred as he looked at the soul of darkness that had been chopped into more than 10 pieces and was slowly dissipating. The soul of darkness is similar to the dragon bead. Could I allow the dragon bead of darkness to devour and upgrade it? Wang Xian had a thought. He opened his mouth and a dragon bead of darkness flew out from his mouth. The dragon bead turned into a 1-meter-sized dark demon dragon and started to devour the dark energy that had not completely dissipated. It's really possible. The dark dragon bead can increase the level of the dragon bead by devouring the soul of darkness. Wang Xian's eyes lit up. He was currently lacking items that could increase the level of the dragon bead. Now that the soul of darkness could increase the level of the dark dragon bead, he could not give up on this opportunity. The only drawback was that the dark dragon pearl would be upgraded. If the light dragon pearl was not upgraded, the balance between light and darkness would be broken again. However, there was nothing he could do about it. Now that he could hold on to his heart, it would not be a big problem even if the light and darkness were out of balance. He would just need to spend some time to adjust himself. Wang Xian's figure moved and flew into the sky. Looking at Ling Jian in front of him, he frowned slightly. This is simply a land of treasures. Spiritual herbs and the soul of darkness. I can't stay by Ling Jian's side all the time. Wang Xian frowned slightly. With a move of his arm, a statue appeared in his hand. The statue was Wang Xian himself. He opened his mouth and the bright dragon pearl flew out from within and attached itself to the statue. Buzz. A body that was emitting a faint light appeared in front of Wang Xian. The light body was exactly the same as him. It was as if it had a life of its own. Let the light dragon pearl protect Ling Jian. I will be able to sense danger if I encounter it. Even if I don't have to control it by myself, the light dragon pearl will be able to unleash the strength of a 6th-level void interpretation. It is enough to protect Ling Jian. Wang Xian transmitted a message to the light dragon pearl, instructing it to protect Ling Jian in the dark. Following that, Wang Xian flew towards the front left. Next, I have to devour the soul of darkness crazily to obtain the spiritual herb. Wang Xian's eyes flashed with excitement. He opened his fiery dragon eyes and scanned his surroundings. My vision is greatly restricted. However, it's still easy for me to scan a radius of 5 kilometers. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and dashed forward. With his current strength, his speed was about 10 times faster than Ling Jian and the rest. In a flash, he was already 4,000 to 5,000 meters away. There are spiritual herbs over there. It seems to be an earth attribute spiritual herb. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he stared in a certain direction and flew straight ahead. The return map flower of the 1st level of the void interpretation stage. A protection of the soul of darkness of the 1st level of the void interpretation stage. Wang Xian's figure flickered as the dark dragon pearl devoured the soul of darkness and took the spiritual herbs away. Let's keep going deeper. Wang Xian did not hesitate and flew forward quickly. A spiritual tree of the 2nd level of the void interpretation stage. A soul of darkness of the 2nd level of the void interpretation stage. Not long after, another spiritual tree appeared in Wang Xian's line of sight. His figure flickered and in less than 10 seconds, the soul of darkness devoured and the spiritual fruit was taken away. Haha, this is practically my own backyard. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled with excitement as he continued flying forward. Along the way, he kept the spirit herbs and spirit trees in his bag. The dark dragon bead was also improving rapidly. Chapter 1553. 1553. The evolution of the 1553 Dragon Pearl was a huge harvest. After traveling for more than an hour, Wang Xian had only traveled more than 1,000 kilometers. In just over an hour, he had harvested more than 200 spiritual fruits and herbs. The soul of darkness had also devoured more than 40 spiritual fruits and herbs. Among them, there were also a few soul of darkness at the 3rd level of the void interpretation realm. The higher the level of the spiritual herbs, the higher the level of the soul of darkness that is guarding them. I can continue to go deeper. There were spiritual herbs of the 7th or 8th level of the void interpretation in the black screen garden. Naturally, Wang Xian could not let them go. He moved his body and flew forward again. Spiritual fruits of the 4th level of the void interpretation. 2 soul of darkness of the 3rd level of the void interpretation are guarding them. Spiritual fruits of the 5th level of the void interpretation. 10 soul of darkness of the 3rd level of the void interpretation are guarding them. Spiritual fruits of the 6th level of the void interpretation. 5 level 4 void interpretation spirit fruits are protecting it. Wang Xian swept through the spirit fruits along the way. He realized that the level 4 void interpretation spirit fruits would not be protected by the level 4 void interpretation spirit fruits. On the contrary, when he obtained a level 6 void interpretation spirit fruit, only 5 level 4 void interpretation spirit fruits would be protected by the level 4 void interpretation spirit fruits. This was both a good and a bad thing for Wang Xian. Fortunately, it was faster to obtain a high-level spirit fruit. The bad thing was that the speed of the Dark Dragon Pearl's advancement would be slower. However, this was something that Wang Xian had no choice but to do. He quickly harvested the spirit fruit. Perhaps, Even the owner of the ruins of the Divine Kingdom would not have thought that there would be a terrifying existence who possessed the combat strength of level 7 of the Void Interpretation, even though he was only at level 3 of the Void Interpretation realm. Isn't this the Black Screen Heart fruit? The fruit that Wuqing City is looking for. After a day, Wang Xian had already entered an extremely deep region. Looking at the Black Screen Heart fruit in front of him, a smile appeared on his face. The Black Screen Heart fruit was at the 7th level of the See-Through realm, and there were 10 5th-level See-Through Dark Souls guarding it. He continued to sweep around. A day later, Wang Xian found a 8th-level See-Through Spirit fruit. Golden Heart Spiritual Fruit. 2 Dark Souls of the 6th level of the Void Interpretation stage. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the Soul of Darkness of the 6th level of the Void Interpretation stage. Even if all the participants gathered here, they wouldn't be able to get their hands on this Golden Heart Spiritual Fruit. He smiled and waved his arm. A demonic dragon flew towards the Soul of Darkness and devoured it. There should be half of the energy left. The Dark Dragon Pearl should be able to upgrade to the 8th level of the Void Interpretation stage. Furthermore, the resources needed for my upgrade should be almost done. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at the Dark Dragon Pearl and the various spiritual herbs in his interspatial ring. The upgrade required 10 trillion dragon crystals. Wang Xian had obtained the interspatial ring after destroying the ancient demon city. The resources in the interspatial ring were sufficient to reach about 7 trillion dragon crystals. In addition, he had obtained various spiritual herbs here. The upgrade of his level was just around the corner. Wang Xian moved his body and continued to search. There were not many high-grade spiritual fruits and spiritual herbs. After wandering around for 4 to 5 days, Wang Xian only managed to obtain 10 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the See-Through realm. Have we reached the destination? At this moment, Wang Xian looked ahead in astonishment. There was an incomparably huge pitch-black stone door standing in front of him. Black God Garden. Wang Xian muttered as he looked at the huge signboard above the stone door. That place was obviously another medicinal garden. It might have spiritual herbs of the 9th level of the Void Interpretation realm, half-step longevity realm, as well as spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits of the longevity realm. Around the stone door, there were trees standing side by side. The trees were tightly packed together, forming a city wall. Wang Xian walked forward and wanted to push it away. However, he was directly pushed away. When he flew to a height of 1,000 meters in the air, he felt a terrifying pressure that made it difficult for him to fly. I can't cross it. With my own strength, I can't cross it at all. After trying for more than 10 minutes, Wang Xian finally gave up on the idea of entering the Black God Garden and looked towards the back. I haven't gathered that direction yet. He moved his body and flew rapidly in another direction. He continued to sweep across. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. The demonic aura on the dark dragon bead became more and more intense. When it was fully unleashed, it could form a terrifying demonic dragon that was 100 meters long. It could unleash the terrifying strength of a peak level 7 see-through. With the power of the dark dragon bead, the current Wang Xian could easily kill 10 level 7 see-through experts by himself. Ling Jian is in danger. At this moment, Wang Xian suddenly felt a fluctuation coming from the light dragon pearl. He immediately closed his eyes. But, oh no, there are 30 dark souls. There are actually 30 of them. Junior Sister Jian, run. Through the light dragon pearl, Wang Xian saw 30 level 3 of the see-through realm dark souls break through the formation that surrounded Ling Jian and the rest. The 30 darkness souls were like ghosts as they attacked them. Ah! An old man let out a scream. His body slowly turned black as he opened his eyes wide and let out a painful cry. Run! Around them, the rest of the people from the Bingxin Empire shouted in fear. Clang! Ling Jian waved the metal longsword in her hand. It emitted an extremely bright golden glow as it swept towards the darkness souls behind her. She gritted her teeth with all her might as a look of horror appeared on her face. Her strength was the weakest among all of them. Now, the rest of them could not care about her at all. Roar, roar. Sensing the soul of darkness charging towards her from behind, a hint of fear flashed across her eyes. He actually provoked 30 soul of darkness. Wang Xian's gaze swept forward. When he saw that Ling Jian'e was in danger, his body moved. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Ling Jian'e, who was running for her life, felt the impact of the soul of darkness on her shoulder. Instantly, her body trembled slightly. However, at this moment, a white figure flashed past her eyes. A special sound came from behind. This made her slightly stunned. She looked back with a stunned expression. It had disappeared. All the soul of darkness had disappeared. It was as if they did not exist. That white figure. The white figure appeared in her mind as her eyes flashed with a luster. That figure was somewhat familiar. What happened? What happened? Why did the dark souls disappear? What happened? Where are the dark souls? Ah, that's great, that's great. Junior Sister Jian, are you all right? In just a few seconds, Bing Jinghuan and the others, who were running for their lives, sensed the disappearance of the darkness energy behind them. They turned around in shock, their faces filled with confusion. I'm fine. Ling Jian'e shook her head and scanned her surroundings. It's good that you're all right, it's good that you're all right. Why did the darkness soul suddenly disappear? Bing Jinghuan nodded his head and looked around in bewilderment. I don't know either. Ling Jian'e shook her head and looked at a statue in her interspatial ring. The statue in front of her slowly overlapped with the white shadow from before. Chapter 1554. 1554. With the evolution of the 1554 Dragon Pearl, he had gained a huge harvest. Let's continue. Wang Xian, who was thousands of kilometers away, sensed that Ling Jian'e was completely safe. He opened his eyes and looked ahead. His body moved and flew into the sky. He scanned his surroundings. There are spiritual herbs of the 4th level of the void. His body moved and flew over directly. Just as he arrived, he suddenly noticed more than 10 figures flying over. There are a total of 8 spirit grass of the 4th level of the void interpretation. 10 darkness souls of the 3rd level of the void interpretation can deal with them. There's another person? A group of people flew over. They were wearing black and white clothes. If they weren't wearing black robes, it meant that they were at least from a first-rate force. Based on their black and white attire, the 2 big words, I am the only one, could be used to determine the other party's identity. Solipsistic sect. One person. A dozen middle-aged men from solipsistic sect glanced at Wang Xian and sized up their surroundings warily. The old man standing in the middle gestured to the 2 middle-aged men. The 2 of them nodded and flew directly towards Wang Xian. Wang Xian stood there and watched the 2 middle-aged men flying over quietly. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Kid, why aren't you running? Seeing Wang Xian standing there motionlessly, the 2 middle-aged men stood in front of him and behind him. A hint of surprise flashed across their eyes. Why are you running? Wang Xian looked at the 2 middle-aged men and asked faintly. That's true. You can't run away even if you want to when you meet our lone sect. Ha! A middle-aged man laughed out loud. All right, let's get rid of this kid. Who knows, he might have some spiritual herbs in his interspatial ring. The old man in the middle said plainly to the 2 middle-aged men. Yes, senior brother. The 2 middle-aged men retracted their expressions and stared at Wang Xian arrogantly. I'll send you on your way. A middle-aged man moved and slashed the scimitar in his hand at Wang Xian instantly. Ants. Contempt appeared in Wang Xian's eyes. With a wave of his arm, a demonic dragon directly attacked the 2 middle-aged men. But, in an instant, the demonic dragon swept past them. Before the 2 of them could even scream, they died instantly. Following that, the demonic dragon swept towards the rest of the people from the lone sect. Not good, that fellow is very strong. Set up a formation. The old man in the center saw that his two junior brothers had died instantly, and his face revealed a trace of shock. He hurriedly shouted, "Roar!" However, at this moment, the demon dragon lightly roared, and a violent roar charged towards them. This, how? Everyone's eyes widened, and their faces revealed an expression of disbelief. Streams of blood flowed out from their ears, nose, mouth, and eyes. How was this possible? How could a third-level void interpretation expert be so strong? Their eyes were filled with disbelief as their vitality slowly dissipated. The demonic dragon swayed its huge body and headed straight for the soul of darkness. Just a little more. The level of the dark dragon bead is about to increase. Feeling the terrifying pressure from the demonic dragon, Wang Xian revealed a smile on his face. He kept everyone's interspatial rings and left without looking. The more he flew towards the exit, the more people he encountered. Wang Xian even encountered demonic beasts from the natural moats. When these humans and demonic beasts saw Wang Xian alone, they attacked without hesitation. The result was obvious. The last 10. 2 days later, beside a small lake, Wang Xian looked at the black lotus in the black lake and the 10 darkness souls in the lake. His eyes were sparkling. Roar, roar. He waved his arm and the demonic dragon directly devoured the darkness souls. The 10 darkness souls were completely unable to resist and were directly devoured by the dark dragon bead. After swallowing the 10 darkness souls, the demonic aura on the demon dragon's body surged. Boom, boom. A muffled sound was heard. The 100-meter-long demon dragon slowly shrank and turned into a primitive black dragon pearl. The black dragon pearl, which was like a black hole, slowly floated in the sky. Roar! At this moment, an extremely violent roar of the demon dragon came from the black dragon pearl, and the sound reverberated throughout the entire black screen garden. Crack, crack, crack. Following that, the fist-sized dragon bead expanded in an instant. It was like a world-destroying demonic dragon that had emerged from a black hole. The body of the demonic dragon gradually expanded. In the end, it stopped at about 150 meters. Roar! Another earth-shattering roar was heard. Wang Xian waved his arm and the demonic dragon flew towards him. It shrank slowly and circled around him. It has evolved. A smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. Not long ago, he was still worrying about how to evolve the dragon pearl. In the end, it had only been a few days and it had already evolved. When the light dragon pearl evolves, it will be the time for darkness to merge. Wang Xian thought to himself, "What is that sound? Is it the roar of the soul of darkness? My God, this violent roar is definitely the roar of the soul of darkness at level 7 or even level 8 of the see-through realm. Didn't they say that there are no such powerful souls of darkness in the black screen garden? Hiss? Who provoked such a terrifying existence? Let's not go in that direction." At the same time, the roar of the evolution of the black dragon pearl caused everyone in the black curtain garden to look over in fear. Everyone's faces were filled with fear as they located the forbidden area in this direction. Now that my dragon pearl has entered my body, I can completely fight against a level 8 soul of darkness. I have already swept through most of the black curtain garden. Let's go to Jian'er. Wang Xian held the dark dragon pearl and flew over quickly as he sensed the location of the light dragon pearl. There are so many people ahead. When Wang Xian flew over and arrived at the location of the light dragon pearl, he waved his arm and the light dragon pearl attached to the statue flew directly into his hand. After putting the statue away, he looked at a spot a kilometer ahead. A kilometer ahead, there was a deep valley with a depth of 200 meters. The entire area of the deep valley was about 5 kilometers in radius. At this moment, there were more than 1,000 people gathered on both sides of the deep valley. There were 3 first-rate forces and Ling Jian'er and the rest were beside the deep valley. At this moment, More than 1,000 people were staring at the deep valley with burning faces. Everyone was getting restless. Wang Xian swept his gaze over and looked at the deep valley. A hint of surprise appeared on his face. There are so many spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits. There are at least 300 to 400 of them. Furthermore, there are 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the void interpretation in the middle. This is really strange. Wang Xian revealed a hint of surprise on his face. Most of the spiritual herbs in the deep valley were of the 1st and 2nd level of the void interpretation. However, there were 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the void interpretation in the middle of the valley. The spiritual herbs were emitting a golden light and were shaped like swords. This was the 8th rank of the profound void tier sword heartgrass. This spiritual herb was a rare treasure for metal elemental profound void tier experts. Everyone around them was looking at the sword heartgrass in the center of the valley with a burning gaze. Their breathing was a little hurried. Meeting a spiritual herb of the 8th rank of the profound void tier at this place was a huge opportunity for all of them. Especially since the strongest dark soul in the deep valley was only at rank 3 void interpretation. Moreover, there were only 100 of them. Chapter 1555. 1555 1 out of 1,555 demons appeared. There are actually 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the void interpretation in this area. This is a little strange. I only managed to harvest 20 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the void interpretation when I reached the deepest part of the valley. Wang Xian looked at the 3 resplendent sword heart herbs in the middle of the valley and was slightly surprised. His heart skipped a beat as he scanned the entire valley with his dragon eyes of fire and light. As expected, it's not that simple. Although I don't know why there are 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the see-through realm in this valley, it's basically impossible to obtain these 3 spiritual herbs. Wang Xian stared at a spot 3 meters away from the sword heartgrass in the valley. There was a spiritual herb of the dark attribute with a leaf of about 1 meter. Underneath this leaf was a dark soul that looked like a ghost. Only 2 to 3 powerhouses at level 6 of the see-through realm would be able to destroy a level 6 of the see-through realm's dark soul. However, Wang Xian swept his gaze across his surroundings. This was not the deepest part of the area. There were more than 1,000 people gathered around. Among them, there were only about 100 people at level 3 of the see-through realm. The rest were all below level 3 of the see-through realm. There were even quite a number of transcendents. As long as this group of people dared to touch that sword heartgrass, they would definitely die without a burial ground. Sword heartgrass at the 8th level of the profound void tier, the 8th level of the profound void tier. Our luck is simply too good. An old man stared at the 3 ice heartgrass with blazing eyes, his face revealing an excited expression. There are also 200 to 300 spirit grass at the profound void tier below. However, there are more than 100 darkness souls at the 3rd level of the profound void tier. A middle-aged man swept his gaze across the entire valley, his eyes flickering. The tech. I want to act as soon as possible. Otherwise, when those people from the major factions arrive, we won't have anything to do with them. Charge. Even if we can't obtain the insightful void tier 8th level sword heart herb, the remaining spirit herbs are still worth taking action. That's right. Let's all attack together. Whoever can obtain the sword heart herb will be the one with the most luck. At this moment, the leaders of several teams glanced at everyone around them and shouted loudly. Each team didn't dare to rashly charge into the Divine Valley alone. There were more than 100 rank 3 void interpretation realm dark souls. Only by attacking together could they have a chance to obtain the spirit grass in the deep valley. All right, let's attack together. Everyone around them glanced at each other and nodded in agreement. They couldn't delay any longer. If those people from the super forces arrived, those 3 spirit herbs at the 8th level of the profound void tier would have nothing to do with them. Let's do it. An old man shouted loudly, and the more than 1,000 people in the surroundings all started to move. They immediately rushed into the Divine Valley, and everyone's gazes were all burning as they stared at the three-sword heart herbs. However, the moment they rushed into the Divine Valley, all the darkness souls moved. They attacked all the people who entered the Divine Valley. Because the darkness souls could enter a person's body, they had to be careful when dealing with them. Even if there were more than 1,000 people, they had to be careful when dealing with the more than 100 darkness souls. You don't have to take the other spirit herbs. You must definitely get those three-sword heart herbs. Bing Jinghuan's eyes were blazing as he stared at the sword heart herbs in the middle as he spoke to everyone in the Ice Heart Empire. Amongst the 1,000 or so people, they were considered to be a relatively strong team. There was a high chance that they would be able to obtain those three-sword heart herbs. Ling Jian was also staring at the three-sword heart herbs with a fiery expression. The metal attribute sword heart grass was of great help to her cultivation. In fact, if she obtained the three-sword heart grass, she was confident that she would be able to achieve a breakthrough in her strength. Once she achieved a breakthrough, even the two heavens chosen of the so-called Supreme Sect, the Crown Prince of Wuqing City and the Southern Emperor Wudi, would not be a match for her. The Heartless Sword Principle, together with the Origin Gold, could allow her to easily fight against those above her level. Therefore, she was very eager to obtain the three-sword heart grasses. However, just as they flew into the deep valley, one by one, the souls of darkness came up to them. Damn it, finish these damn things as soon as possible. Seeing that they were stopped, Bing Jinghuan growled in a low voice with an extremely embarrassed expression. Ninth Prince will help you block them. Go and pick up those three-sword heart grass. The surrounding elders shouted loudly with solemn expressions. All right. Bing Jinghuan moved and dodged the attack of the darkness souls. He directly flew toward the center. All the powerful teams in the surroundings also wanted to use this method to break through to the center. Shit, this group of darkness souls won't let anyone get close to the center. However, just as Bing Jinghuan flew over 100 meters, he immediately discovered that two darkness souls were attacking him. His expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly fled to the back. In the surrounding area, all the teams that wanted to break through had encountered this problem. Kill these guys first. An old man's furious roar came from not far away. Jian seems to want the three-sword heart grass. Wang Xian, who had been hiding at the back, saw Ling Jian trying to break through to the center time and time again. However, he was blocked by the soul of darkness. He raised his eyebrows slightly. The sword heart grass is of the metal attribute. It fits Jian perfectly. In that case, I will help you. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. With a wave of his arm, the evolved dark dragon bead transformed into a demonic dragon. The fist-sized demonic dragon flashed and landed on Ling Jian's body. What's going on? Ling Jian was fighting with the soul of darkness in front of her. Suddenly, she realized that the soul of darkness that was attacking her was retreating abruptly. It was as though it had encountered a terrifying natural enemy and did not dare to attack her. This caused Ling Jian to be stunned. However, her gaze shifted as she stared at the sword heart grass in the center. She hesitated for a moment before flying towards the sword heart grass. In the surroundings, some of the soul of darkness saw Ling Jian flying towards the center and revealed a sinister expression. However, they quickly revealed a terrified expression. When Ling Jian saw that there were no darkness souls to stop her, an excited expression appeared on her face as she directly flew towards the sword heart grass. Oh no, someone has broken through. Damn it, it's the people from the Ice Heart Empire. In the surroundings, when some people saw Ling Jian rushing into the deep valley, they revealed expressions of unwillingness and anger. Junior sister Jian. Bing Jinghuan's face revealed an excited expression. Ling Jian's face was also filled with joy as she directly grabbed towards the sword heart grass. Boom! However, at this instant, An aura of death completely enveloped it. Ling Jian'er's face instantly turned pale as she hurriedly looked towards the bottom of a spirit grass leaf. A terrifying dark soul was staring at her coldly. She could feel that this dark soul was at least at the 6th level of the profound void tier. It's over. Chapter 1556. 1556 Heavenly Devil 2. Ling Jian'er's face turned pale. She had never thought that there would be such a terrifying darkness soul hidden in the middle. That destructive and violent energy made her feel extremely small. A sense of despair appeared on her face. 1. At this moment, the darkness soul moved and her body trembled. Boom! However, at this moment, a black shadow suddenly flashed before her eyes. Following that, the ferocious and terrifying darkness soul vanished. What's going on? Her eyes widened, filled with disbelief. Shadow? She muttered as she thought of the white figure from not too long ago. Could it be? Junior Sister Jian quickly plucked the sword heart grass away. Quick, quick, a team is about to break through. At this moment, Bing Jinghuan's anxious voice came from behind. Ling Jian'er suddenly reacted and hurriedly reached out to grab the sword heart grass. She directly stored it into her interspatial ring. Not good, the sword heart grass has been taken away by that woman. When Ling Jian'er rushed towards the center, everyone around her had been paying attention to her. When they saw the sword heart grass being taken away, all of their faces were extremely ugly. The sword heart grass of the 8th level of the profound void tier was comparable to a pill of the 7th level of the profound void tier. Only the 3 superpowers had pills of this level. This was a huge treasure to second-rate forces and even third-rate powers. A black veil heart fruit of the 7th level of the profound void tier was already so important to the crown prince of Wucheng City, let alone a spirit grass of the 8th level of the profound void tier. Junior Sister Jian, let's leave immediately. Bing Jinghuan saw Ling Jian'er flying over, and his face revealed an excited expression as he shouted loudly. As long as they obtained these 3 sword heart grasses, it would be worth it to enter the Black Curtain Garden. Moreover, their acquisition of the sword heart grasses had been seen by the surrounding thousands of people. They could not stay in the Black Curtain Garden anymore. Otherwise, they would definitely be attacked by others. All right. Ling Jian'er nodded her head heavily and did not stop as she fled towards the exit. We are also preparing to retreat. Bing Jinghuan shouted at his subordinates and prepared to escape from the attacks of the darkness souls. How can it be so easy to leave? A wind attribute cultivator suddenly moved and 3 darkness souls chased after him. His figure flickered, and he led the darkness souls to Bing Jinghuan and the others on their way out. Damn fellow, you dare to provoke our Bingxin dynasty? I think you want to die. Bing Jinghuan and the others roared in anger when they saw that someone was deliberately trying to trip them up. So what if it's the Bingxin dynasty? The old man in black robes, who was covered in black robes, laughed loudly without any fear. These first-rate forces wore black robes in order to compete with the first-rate forces and even the 3 super forces for the spirit herbs. This way, they wouldn't be afraid of being retaliated against. Junior Sister Jian, you should leave first. Once you leave the Black Screen Garden, there will be experts from our Ice Heart Empire protecting you. You want to snatch the treasures from our Ice Heart Empire? Dream on. A cold voice sounded out from Bing Jinghuan's mouth. Ling Jian'er nodded his head and did not dare to hesitate as he flew towards the exit. All of you, go chase after her and snatch the sword heart grass from her hands. We cannot let her leave. As long as we obtain the 3 sword heart grass, everything will be worth it. At the surrounding area, a few of the team leaders gritted their teeth and chased after Ling Jian. In an instant, when some people gave up on the battle with the darkness soul, the battle that was originally evenly matched was immediately destroyed by the darkness souls. A miserable shriek sounded out. Damn it, retreat. There are some experts chasing after the Ice Heart Dynasty's women. We aren't a match for these darkness souls. Some teams that weren't confident of obtaining the sword heartgrass only wanted to obtain some low-grade spirit herbs. Seeing this situation, their expressions became extremely ugly. They hurriedly retreated out of the deep valley, their expressions changing as they looked towards the place where Ling Jian had escaped to. Damn it, let's go, we'll also fish in troubled waters. A few of the teams said with ugly expressions, directly chasing after Ling Jian. Since they could not obtain the low-grade spirit herbs, they would see if they could obtain the three-sword heartgrass. In an instant, more than 200 people chased after Ling Jian. This made the people from the Bingxin Empire look extremely embarrassed. Run! Ling Jian felt the people chasing after her, and her expression was a little embarrassed. This group of people would definitely not let go of her Bingxin Empire's background for the sake of the three-sword heart herbs. These guys. Wang Xian followed behind Ling Jian and swept his gaze across the more than 200 people chasing after them. However, with their speed, it would be difficult for them to catch up to Ling Jian. Wang Xian didn't make a move either. He wouldn't make a move unless Ling Jian was in danger. This woman is so fast. We can't catch up to her at all. We'll reach the exit in an hour at most. We won't be able to catch up to her. Some of them looked embarrassed when they saw Ling Jian's speed. Some teams immediately stopped. Once Ling Jian charged out, there would be experts from the Bingxin Empire protecting them. If they charged out, they would only be killed by the experts from the Bingxin Empire. However, to the surprise of many people, 3 teams did not stop. They continued to lock onto Ling Jian's figure with excitement in their eyes. 2 days ago, a divine tree appeared at the Divine Kingdom's ruins, the Blackwater Divine Lake. Experts from the superpowers and a few first-rate forces have rushed over. There might not be experts from the Bingxin Empire at the entrance. These 3 teams had only entered the Black Screen Garden for a day, so they had some understanding of the situation outside. With the appearance of the divine tree in the Blackwater God Lake, a group of powerful forces immediately rushed over. At this moment, there might not be any experts from the Ice Heart Empire at the entrance. Hence, they did not give up. The 3 teams followed closely behind Ling Jian, who was 2,000 meters behind her. Ling Jian felt the speed behind her and heaved a sigh of relief. The exit was right in front of her. She could protect the three-sword heartgrass. Wang Xian followed behind her. But Ling Jian flew out with a smile on her face. She immediately looked towards the direction of the Bingxin Empire. Damn it. The Blackwater God Lake has been completely sealed off by the 3 super forces and a group of first-rate forces. We can't enter at all. How overbearing! The people of the Bingxin dynasty are indeed powerful. They killed 2 experts of the 7th level of the Profound Void stage on the spot. It's our fault for being weak. Right then, voices suddenly came from the front. The voices came from the people in black robes. When she looked at the Bingxin dynasty, she found that there were no experts of the Bingxin dynasty there. Even the experts from the superpowers and the other first-rate powers weren't there. This caused Ling Jian to be slightly startled, and she couldn't help but feel alarmed and flustered. Chapter 1557. 1557 1557 Skyfiends appear 3. At the front of the Black Curtain Gardens gate, a group of powerful people had already left. There were only 4,000 to 5,000 black-robed people in front of them. They were all factions below first-rate forces. Don't underestimate these people. The entire vast region was incomparably vast. There were 3 super forces and 8 first-rate forces. These 11 forces only occupied 1/5 of the vast region. The other 4/5 of the region also had hidden dragons and crouching tigers. This was especially true near the God Nation ruins. There were many mysterious organizations. Many organizations existed to occupy the entire God Nation ruins. Some hidden organizations might not be weaker than some first-rate forces. Of course, There was still a huge gap between them and the three superforces. Ling Jian was floating at the entrance by herself. She was very eye-catching. She scanned the area in front of her warily and flew towards the outside without saying a word. Wang Xian, who was hiding in the air, also glanced at the positions of the first-rate superforces that had left curiously. Blackwater Divine Lake? Tree of God? It seems that all these superpowers have gone there? Perhaps only in the last few days will there be experts coming to protect their disciples. Wang Xian thought to himself. The Black Curtain Garden had been in operation for a month. It had only been half a month since then. The people from the first-rate and superpowers would basically stay in the Black Curtain Garden for about a month. If Ling Jian hadn't suddenly obtained 3-sword heart grass at the 8th level of the Profound Void tier, she wouldn't have come out earlier. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just as Ling Jian was about to leave this place, another 30 to 40 people appeared at the entrance of the Black Curtain Garden. Their eyes scanned the surroundings and immediately locked onto Ling Jian, who was in the air. Master, capture that woman from the Bingxin Empire. A middle-aged man dressed in a black robe immediately pointed at Ling Jian and shouted loudly. Ha! Everyone was attracted to the spot in front of them. More than a dozen of them flew over with a hint of doubt on their faces. What's the situation? Speak. When Ling Jian heard the voice from behind, her expression changed drastically. She immediately used all her speed and fled forward. Wang Xian frowned slightly. He had a bad premonition. Master, we can't let her escape. She has a treasure in her hands. The middle-aged man said anxiously. However, he didn't dare to say that the other party had 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the see-through void. Once he said it out loud, a group of powerhouses in front would swarm forward. Elder, stop her. She has obtained a few top-grade spiritual herbs in the Black Screen Garden. Another team hurriedly shouted at their elders. Top-grade spirit herbs? Everyone was slightly shocked and immediately looked towards Ling Jian's figure. The people from the Bingxin Empire. TSK, their experts aren't here. I won't be polite anymore. A sinister voice suddenly sounded out. Following that, a figure rushed out and chased after Ling Jian. Go, the Icy Heart Empire is domineering. Since their disciples have spiritual herbs, we will accept them with a smile. Ha! In less than a second, 3 more figures flew over. TSK, what a beautiful young lady. Boom, boom, boom. Another dozen figures directly chased after Ling Jian. One figure after another, several of them emitting terrifying demonic qi. 7th level void interpretation, a terrifying 7th level void interpretation expert. Damn it, those are our things. The faces of the elders of the 2 teams revealed a cold expression, and with a gloomy expression, they directly chased after them. Top-grade spiritual herbs. The top-grade spiritual herbs of the Black Screen Garden were 8th level void interpretation. A few 8th level void interpretation spiritual herbs, even if they were 7th level void interpretation experts, were extremely tempted. Spiritual herbs of this level were of great use to them. Especially for those experts who didn't have much lifespan and were desperately seeking to break through, the 7th level of the Profound Void tier medicinal pill was a treasure of a higher level. In an instant, more than 70 figures chased after Ling Jian. Among them, more than 20 figures were emitting a majestic energy from their bodies. It was extremely terrifying. Ling Jian's speed was very fast, and she managed to escape about a minute ahead of time. However, the people who were chasing after her were a group of experts who could be considered strong even in the vast continent. When Wang Xian saw this scene, he cursed in his heart and his expression turned slightly gloomy. If he had known this would happen, he would have killed all the people who were chasing after Ling Jian. If you want to escape, come over here. At this moment, an elder at the front waved his arm and a devil whip shot towards Ling Jian. This is the prey our disciple has discovered. Everyone, you have crossed the line. An elder waved his arm and a golden sword slashed towards the devil whip. What prey? Whoever catches it will get it. The old man who waved the devil whip saw that his attack had been cut off, and his face was cold with a trace of killing intent. I only want one top-grade spirit herb. A few figures from behind rushed over and grabbed towards Ling Jian. Peng peng peng. However, their attacks were immediately blocked. Young lady in front, stop right now. With a shout, Ling Jian's expression changed drastically, and she hurriedly stopped. Seniors, I am willing to give all of the sword heartgrass that I have obtained to all of you. Ling Jian's expression was filled with fear as she felt the terrifying attacks behind her. She hurriedly took out the sword heartgrass and shouted. Sword heartgrass, a sword heartgrass of the 8th level of the profound void tier, and there are 3 of them. When the black-robed men saw the 3 sword heartgrass in Ling Jian's hand, their eyes shone with a fiery light. A spiritual grass of the 8th level of the profound void tier was a treasure. Ling Jian glanced at the black-robed men around her in fear. Seniors, please spare my life for the sake of the Iceheart dynasty. She had no choice but to bring up the Iceheart dynasty, hoping that the other party would be more cautious. If you don't say that you're from the Bingxin dynasty, I might let you off. Now, I'm going to crush you. However, just as Ling Jian finished speaking, an aged voice sounded out, and a terrifying killing intent directly charged towards her. This caused her face to instantly turn pale, and her gaze turned towards the old man in front of her who only had a pair of ice-cold eyes. He has a grudge with the Icy Heart Empire. Ling Jian's body trembled slightly as she looked at the group of terrifying experts surrounding her like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. It's not easy to divide the 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the profound void tier. Treasures will belong to those who have the strength to snatch them. That old man swept his gaze across the surrounding people as he spoke in a sinister tone. Just as his voice faded, a pair of shriveled arms extended out from his black robe. The shriveled arms were like demonic claws. The moment they reached Ling Jian's side, the terrifying demonic qi contained within would be able to tear them apart. He did not care about Ling Jian's life at all. Ling Jian looked at this attack and closed her eyes in despair. A figure suddenly appeared in her mind. Would that person still save her? Chapter 1558. 1558 Heavenly Demon Manifestation 4. Sword Heartgrass, this old man wants one. Image that belongs to us. In the sky above the Divine Kingdom ruins, Ling Jian was surrounded when she ran to a spot not far from the huge sculpture. When an elder at the 7th level of the Insight Void tier attacked, he closed his eyes in despair. The surrounding experts did not want to be outdone and grabbed towards Ling Jian's body. That terrifying energy was able to instantly tear her apart. At least more than 20 insightful Void Tier 7 experts took action. 3 insightful Void Tier 8 Sword Heartgrass was not worth so many experts fighting for, but no one wanted to give up. Whoever could obtain a Sword Heartgrass in an instant. Basically, this sword heartgrass belonged to the person. In despair, Ling Jian stood in the air, trembling, her eyes tightly shut. Boom! When numerous terrifying attacks came towards her, a violent collision sounded in front of her. She could feel the terrifying energy coming from in front of her being completely blocked. What? Damn it, who is it? Numerous exclamations came from the surroundings, and Ling Jian was slightly stunned. Her eyelashes trembled as she opened her eyes, and a huge door of darkness appeared in front of her. In the surroundings, more than 20 profound Void Tier 7 experts saw that the door of darkness was blocking their attacks, and their expressions were ice-cold as they swept their surroundings. Behind the group of profound Void Tier experts, there were also 50 to 60 profound Void Tier 5 and 6 experts. They were also looking around in shock. So many people, so many experts. Bullying a little girl, isn't that bad? At this moment, a cold voice was heard. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice. A figure covered in darkness was walking towards them as if he was walking in the void. His face could not be seen clearly. All that could be seen was a pair of indifferent eyes. Meddling in other people's business. The old man who took the lead narrowed his eyes and sized up Wang Xian coldly. The rest of the experts at level 7 of the see-through realm stared at Wang Xian and questioned him silently. You guys are so bored. Seeing that you guys want to kill a weak girl, you guys want to meddle in other people's business. The one who came was naturally Wang Xian. Seeing that the group of people not only wanted to snatch the sword Heartgrass from Ling Jian, they also wanted to kill her. This made Wang Xian a little angry. Anyone who wanted to touch Ling Jian would have to go through him. Wang Xian's eyes revealed a cold expression as he swept his gaze across everyone around him. Kiki, why are you meddling in other people's business? I have killed many people in the past. Why haven't I met you meddling in other people's business? An old man laughed out loud and stared at Wang Xian mockingly as he spoke in a cold tone. In the past? Maybe I have been killing people too. Wang Xian looked at the old man indifferently. But, do you want to keep the 3-sword heart grasses for yourself? An old man stared at Wang Xian and asked faintly. Yes, I want to keep them for myself as well. Wang Xian nodded his head slowly. Ling Jian, who was at the side, looked at Wang Xian blankly with her brows knitted tightly. A dark figure? A bright figure. How arrogant. You are really arrogant to the extreme. You actually want to keep the 3-sword heart grasses for yourself from us. How arrogant. A loud laughter came from the mouth of an old man in a black robe. His voice spread across a radius of dozens of kilometers. This caused the people who did not come to the entrance of the black screen garden to be slightly shocked. They looked over. Some curious people immediately flew over and swept their gaze over. What happened? Everyone looked over curiously through the black robe. Don't mess with me. Wang Xian swept his gaze across all of them and said faintly. Kiki, don't mess with you? Who do you think you are? Let's kill this guy first. After that, whoever gets the sword Heartgrass will get it. What do you think? The old man who took the lead slowly clenched his fist and a human-headed staff appeared in his hand. It's been a long time since I've met such an arrogant fellow. One move per person. Finish him off immediately. Don't waste time, lest we alarm the Bingxin Empire. A weapon appeared in the hands of more than 20 black-robed powerhouses as they stared at Wang Xian and said calmly. Based on their investigation, the opponent had the strength of a 7th-level see-through void stage at most. One 7th-level see-through void stage wanted to fight against more than 20 of them? This was simply courting death. One person with one move could directly kill him. It's been a long time since I had a satisfying battle. I wonder how strong I am now. Wang Xian's gaze swept across more than 27th-level see-through realm experts. There was no fear on his face as he laughed maniacally. A demonic dragon slowly gathered around him and revolved around him. A reckless thing kill. All the experts at level 7 of the see-through void tier stared at Wang Xian with murderous intent. To dare to provoke all of them by himself was an insult to them. Those who insulted others, kill. Kill. Around him, more than 20 experts at level 7 of the see-through void tier waved their weapons and unleashed terrifying attacks at Wang Xian. Let's fight. Wang Xian threw his head back and let out a loud roar. Instantly, the demonic aura on his body surged and surged towards the surroundings. Bang! A stream of demonic aura landed on Ling Jian's body and sent her over 3,000 meters away. Ling Jian widened her eyes and fixed her gaze on Wang Xian's position. However, at this moment, the surging demonic aura had completely covered his body. One after another, terrifying attacks landed on Wang Xian's position. I hope nothing bad will happen. Ling Jian clenched her fists tightly as she stared ahead worriedly. At this moment, when the terrifying attacks landed on the demonic energy, a roar was heard from the center of the demonic energy. The roar was filled with brutality and violence. A majestic and terrifying dragon head broke through the demonic aura directly. His dragon eyes swept across all the experts at level 7 of the see-through realm. The attacks landed on his dragon scales without leaving any trace. All of you must die. A dark glow shot out from Wang Xian's cold dragon eyes. He swayed his 100-meter-long body and attacked them directly. What? He is a demonic beast? What a terrifying pressure. The expressions of the more than 20 experts at level 7 of the see-through realm changed slightly when they saw that the figure had suddenly transformed into a terrifying creature that was more than 100 meters long. Dragon Kingdom in the palm. Wang Xian did not hesitate at all. The Dragon Kingdom in the palm of his Dharma idol attacked them directly. The pitch-black dragon claws were covered with densely packed dragon scales. The entire dragon claw transformed into a radius of 2 kilometers and attacked the group of experts at level 7 of the see-through realm. With the support of the black dragon pearl of the profound void tier 8, not to mention the 20 or so experts of the same level, even an expert of the profound void tier 8 could fight. Damn it, don't hold back, attack all of you, kill this beast. The 20 or so experts of the profound void tier 7 looked at the terrifying dragon claw, their faces filled with shock as they roared out. Chapter 1559. 1559 1559 heavenly demons appeared 5. Boom, boom, boom. Next to the gigantic statue in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom, terrifying sounds of collisions were heard within a radius of a few hundred kilometers. More than 20 experts at the 7th level of the see-through realm attacked the gigantic dragon claws. The powerful attacks landed on the dragon claws but did not cause much damage. But at this moment, Wang Xian controlled the gigantic dragon claws and charged at the level 7 insightful void martial artists. Damn, what sturdy claws! What kind of supernatural ability is this? The face of an elder in a black robe at level 7 insightful void martial artist turned ashen. They thought that it would be easy to kill a person of the same level with more than 20 people attacking him. However, they had not expected that the opponent's attack would be so terrifying. Oh my god, what kind of monster is this? It's actually fighting with more than 20 experts of the 7th level of the profound void tier. This creature is so terrifying. That demon claw is simply too abnormal. In the surroundings, everyone saw the battle erupting here, especially the dragon claw that was 2 kilometers in size. It was exceptionally eye-catching in the entire sky. Everyone had shocked expressions on their faces. A creature that could fight against more than 27th level void interpretation creatures? This must be in existence at the 8th level of the void interpretation realm. Aspect, demon eye. Aspect, heaven's light. Aspect, heaven's punishment. Aspect, thunder god's descent. When they saw Wang Xian's dragon claw attacking them once again, the terrifying demonic aura attacked their bodies. All the experts at level 7 of the see-through realm had extremely grave expressions. They knew that they had encountered a tough opponent this time. Kill. He hasn't reached level 8 of the see-through realm. Kill him. An angry roar sounded. One by one, the black-robed elders cast their Dharma idol. Each Dharma idol was like a heaven and earth phenomenon. In the sky, a blood-red demon eye was directly in the sky. It was like a terrifying demon that was peering into the human world. A beam of heavenly light swept towards the dragon claw from a height of 10,000 meters. A giant that was a few thousand meters in size held a long sword in his hand and slashed towards the dragon claw. There were also streaks of azure-blue heavenly lightning that wreaked havoc within a radius of a few thousand meters. Streaks of attacks were directed towards Wang Xian. Boom! Explode! Wang Xian raised his dragon claw and attacked all the Dharma idols in the sky. He used the Dragon Kingdom in his palm to fight against more than 20 powerful Dharma idols. Boom! 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 In an instant, destructive energy rolled out in a radius of 10 kilometers. The terrifying energy fluctuation impacted a radius of 20 kilometers. This is bad. Seeing the terrifying energy impact the surroundings, the faces of the powerhouses at the 7th level of the see-through realm turned red. Streams of energy spread out around them, blocking the impact of the various energies. Explode! Wang Xian's dragon claw attacked an area of 2 kilometers below. The boundless dark energy swept downwards. Not good, escape. More than 20 experts of the 7th level of the see-through realm looked at the dragon claw that covered the sky and earth, fleeing in fear. My God! It's been a long time since such a terrifying battle broke out. Over 20 profound Void Tier 7 experts ganging up on one person, and in the end, they were completely suppressed. The earth-shattering battle caused everyone in the kingdom ruins to turn their gazes over. In front of a huge black lake a few hundred kilometers away, many powerful factions and experts were staring at the center of the lake with fervent gazes. However, when the terrifying sounds of battle came from afar, everyone hurriedly looked in that direction. What's the situation? In that direction, there's at least a group of 7th-level profound Void Tier experts fighting. What's that thing? What a huge claw! Is that a Dharma idol? What a terrifying demon claw! All the experts gathered here were all top-tier experts in the vast region. When they looked into the distance, they could vaguely see a huge demonic claw. Send someone over to check if there are any treasures. Otherwise, why would such a terrifying battle break out? The eyes of the experts from the 3 superpowers flashed as they sent someone over to check. Some first-rate forces also sent their experts over immediately. Ah! At this moment, under Wang Xian's dragon claws, 4 desperate screams were heard. The huge dragon claws crushed the 4 level 7 insightful void martial artists who couldn't escape in time. The terrifying destructive power of darkness directly killed them. 4 level 7 insightful void martial artists died. What? The deaths of the 4 level 7 insightful void martial artists caused the other 20 level 7 insightful void martial artists to show an embarrassed expression. Half of them were swept away by the dark energy. The terrifying demonic aura caused their faces to turn pale. Too strong, simply too strong. We are actually not his match. An elder gulped and stared at the gigantic dragon claw with fear. Run! Some of the insightful Void Tier 7 powerhouses revealed a look of fear. They turned around and fled into the distance. You want to escape? I've said it, all of you must die. Wang Xian moved his dragon claws. Within the dragon claws, a 2-meter-thick devil chain slithered around, making an ear-piercing sound. Devil scale chain. Wang Xian swept the dragon claws in his hand and directly attacked the level 7 insightful void martial artist. How can he be so strong? The level 7 insightful void martial artist looked at the devil scale chain that appeared in front of him in an instant. His expression was extremely ugly. He raised the large saber in his hand and slashed heavily at the devil scale chain. Hualala! However, the devil scale chain rolled and swept towards his body. The devil scale chain that was a few thousand meters long and a meter thick, carrying the power of the divine dragon, swept towards his body. Poo poo poo. Cough cough cough. The terrifying power caused the devil scale chain to spit out large mouthfuls of blood, mixed with internal organs. The 5th insightful Void Tier 7 expert had fallen. Kill. I don't believe that I can't kill him. At this time, don't hold back. One of the insightful Void Tier 7 experts saw that the escaping expert had been killed, and his expression was extremely unsightly. He roared loudly, and his body emitted beams of dazzling light. The descent of the Radiant Emperor. He roared. The other insightful Void Tier 7 experts also revealed their bloodlust, and their eyes revealed a crazed killing intent. Aspect, Eclipse Moon. Aspect, Thunder Disk. Since the other party didn't want them to leave, they would kill them. Every single one of them had fought their way out from their bones. The aspect that was even stronger than before attacked Wang Xian. Dragon Head World. Wang Xian looked at the aspect that covered an area of 10 kilometers and was attacking him. His dragon eyes were filled with blood. It raised its head and a gigantic dragon head appeared. Drown it, darkness. He opened the gigantic dragon head and the terrifying darkness attacked all the Dharma idols. Chapter 1560. 1560 1560 heavenly devils appeared 6. Heavens, what kind of monster is this? What kind of Dharma idol is this? It can make its claws grow by a few thousand meters, and even its head. There are actually 5 Type 7 profound void realm experts that have fallen. This. In the surroundings, everyone saw the terrifying appearance of the dragon head, and those experts below the Type 7 profound void realm quickly retreated. They retreated about 20 kilometers as they looked at the gigantic dragon head in shock. What the fuck is this monster? When the remaining 20 powerhouses of the 7th level of the see-through realm saw the dragon head that was a few thousand meters in size appearing in their line of sight, everyone had a look of shock on their faces. What kind of monster is this? A terrifying demonic aura spewed out from Wang Xian's mouth and engulfed all of their Dharma idols. The dragon eyes, which were dozens of meters in size, locked onto the 7th level insightful void martial artist who was like an ant. Crash! At this moment, the demonic scale chains in Wang Xian's hands moved. Numerous dark chains with sharp thorns swept towards the 27th level insightful void martial artists below. At this moment, the remaining 27th level insightful void martial artists finally panicked. Their eyes revealed a trace of fear, and their figures moved, quickly hiding in the surroundings. We admit defeat, and give those 3 spirit herbs to you. We won't fight for them. If we really fight with our lives, you won't feel good either. One of the profound void tier 7 experts shouted out with a face full of fear, his expression extremely unsightly. They originally thought that they could easily annihilate their opponents, yet they had killed 5 experts. Furthermore, the terrifying dark chains had blocked their escape route. Since I have already made my move, I will not give up. You are seeking your own death. Wang Xian was filled with killing intent. Since you dare to offend Ling Jian, you must be prepared to die. As he spoke, the huge dragon head opened its huge mouth and attacked the 27th level insightful void martial artists. At the same time, the devil scale chain and the huge dragon claws attacked them at the same time. Do you really think that we are afraid of you? With an angry and humiliated roar, the flames on one of the 7th level insightful void martial artists intensified. He turned into a 2,000-meter large flaming giant and attacked Wang Xian with his bare hands. The eyes of the other 19 7th level insightful void martial artists slowly turned blood red. Each of them was protected by energy and turned into a giant that was a few thousand meters in size. Hiss, what a terrifying battle. Is that black creature an expert at the 8th level of the see-through realm? At this moment, the experts from the various factions who came to check on the situation in the Blackwater God Lake looked at the center of the battle with shock on their faces. This was a life-and-death battle. That is, the 2 elders of the He clan looked at the terrifying dragon head and dragon claws. Their faces were instantly filled with shock. They widened their eyes and looked at each other. Wang Xian was the friend of He Yuan of the He clan, Wang Xian. They were extremely shocked when they saw that young man transform into a terrifying dark creature that day. He destroyed the ancient demon city and killed 7 demon masters. Now, they were even more stunned when they saw him crushing more than 20 experts of the 7th level of the see-through void tier. This was too terrifying. Do you know this creature? The 2 elders of the only sect looked at the 2 clan elders of the He clan. They raised their heads slightly and asked coldly, "Yes. Speak." The 2 clan elders of the He clan were somewhat hesitant. The 2 elders of the only sect coldly spat out a word. In the surroundings, a group of powerful factions from the vast region looked over. Their eyes flickered with a luster. According to the information we received from the He clan, this creature is the Sky Demon. He was the one who destroyed the ancient city of demons. The two clan elders gritted their teeth and said directly. Faced with the powerful questioning from the lone sect, they did not dare to not answer. However, they did not reveal Wang Xian. Sky Demon, he is the Sky Demon. A cry of surprise came out from the mouths of the experts from the first-rate forces around them. They looked at the terrifying creature in front of them, who had crushed 20 experts of the 7th level of the see-through void tier. He was the Sky Demon. The Sky Demon who had destroyed the forces they feared. He should have reached rank 8 profound void martial expert. Otherwise, he wouldn't have crushed 20 rank 7 profound void martial experts. An elder from the Wuji Empire looked at the center of the battlefield indifferently, his eyes flickering. All of you come here. At this moment, the two elders from the only sect looked to the left 5 kilometers away and ordered the surrounding black-robed people. When the black-robed people heard the order of the experts of the solitaire sect, fear appeared on their faces. They hurriedly flew over and shouted in fear, "Sir, why did they fight?" An elder of the solitaire sect stared at the battlefield and asked with a twinkle in his eyes. Reporting to Sir, it's because of 3 level 8 sword heart grasses. The group of black-robed people hurriedly replied. 3 sword heart grass. The surrounding people were stunned once again. Although 3 level 8 void interpretation sword heart grass were precious, it was not enough to cause so many experts to fight to the death. In fact, not even a level 7 void interpretation expert would risk their lives for this. This 3 level 8 void interpretation sword heartgrass? How could they fight to the death for 3 level 8 void interpretation sword heartgrass? The elder from the solipsistic sect's face turned cold as he asked them with a heavy face. Sir, that's true. That figure who suddenly appeared said not to provoke me, and the rest of the level 7 void interpretation masters wanted to kill him. In the end, they ended up like this. Once someone wants to escape, he will directly stop them, not allowing them to escape at all. Sensing the might of the two elders, the group of black-robed men quickly bowed and said with a trembling voice, "Not allowing anyone to escape." The pupils of the two elders narrowed, revealing a trace of shock. Just for 3 sword heart grasses, just because 20 or so profound void tier 7 experts wanted to kill him, this Sky Demon did not allow anyone to escape. This Sky Demon is too crazy. Just for 3 sword heart grass, he wants to kill more than 20 insightful void tier 7 experts? This killing is a habit. Not long after he destroyed the ancient demon city, he wants to kill more than 20 insightful void tier 7 experts today? As expected of a Sky Demon, a demon. If I am a demon, there is no demon in the world. It is true that for 3 spirit grass, he wants to kill more than 20 insightful void tier 7 experts. He is simply a madman. It is best not to provoke such a person. We cannot provoke this Sky Devil. Otherwise, we will be in big trouble. The first-rate forces in the vast region looked forward, their faces filled with fear as they looked at the incomparably huge dark figure. The devil's might was truly unexcelled in the world. All the first-rate forces had already decided that they absolutely could not provoke such a crazy fellow. Even the 3 great superforces felt a slight fear in their hearts as they looked at this Sky Devil. They are not afraid of powerful opponents, but afraid of this kind of crazy people who don't care about their lives. Chapter 1561. 1561. The 1561 heavenly demon appeared 7. Ah! At this moment, a scream was heard from the center. I'm not willing. Why did you kill them all? A voice filled with unwillingness and fear came from within. In the center of the huge chain, the terrifying dragon claws and dragon heads attacked the fire giants, light giants, and the terrifying dark shadow. Every strike was destructive. With the black dragon pearl of the 8th level of the see-through, Wang Xian's strength was equivalent to a weaker see-through 8th level powerhouse. Facing more than 20 see-through 7th level powerhouses, he could totally crush them. In fact, they didn't even have the chance to escape. Screams of pain rang out as the see-through 7th level powerhouses fell one after another. 7th level insightful void martial artists, 7th level insightful void martial artists who could establish a second-rate force. Now, they actually fell one by one. In the past few hundred years, there hadn't been so many 7th level insightful void martial artists who had fallen. All of this was because of the 3 sword spirit herbs. If they said it out loud, everyone might not believe it. But he was a sky demon, so it was possible. Because this was the most powerful and terrifying devil in the vast region. Ling Jian stood in a daze as she watched the battle from afar. Every death of a 7th level profound void tier expert caused her heart to beat violently. Her eyes flickered with a special light as she looked at that terrifying and majestic creature. She knew that he wasn't doing it for the sword spirit grass in her hands. He was doing it to save her. Who is he? What is his relationship with that priest Wang? Why are the two figures so familiar? Questions popped up in Ling Jian's mind. She thought of the first time she met that priest Wang. She thought of the statue that appeared at her door every day. Her eyes were a little lost. Bing Jian? Ling Jian? Father? Wang Xian? Names flashed across her mind one by one. Ah! At this moment, the last scream was heard. The 25th expert of the 7th level of the see-through realm had died. Wang Xian's dragon eyes scanned the corpses below him coldly without any emotion. He moved his body and transformed into a human. With a wave of his arm, he kept all the corpses into his interspatial ring. Wang Xian looked to the left and stared at the experts from the various forces in the vast area. "Those who provoke me will die," he said faintly. His figure flashed and disappeared into the void. This sky demon is really arrogant. When the old man from the solipsistic sect heard Wang Xian's words, a hint of coldness appeared on his face. "Go back." However, he didn't say anything. The solipsistic sect wasn't willing to provoke such a crazy person for no reason. The rest of the powerhouses from the other factions also went back in silence and reported what happened here. "Hiss, it's too terrifying. That person is simply too terrifying. Oh my God. He killed our clan elder just because of a disagreement. That person is too brutal and bloody. He didn't leave a single one alive. He actually didn't leave a single one alive." Seeing Wang Xian's figure disappear, everyone who was more than 20 kilometers away was filled with astonishment. Just because of 3 pieces of sword heart grass, 25 decision-makers at the 7th level of the see-through realm had died. This was too bloody and violent. Ling Jian stood in the air in a daze. Her body moved and she flew out quickly. Everyone around was still in shock. They did not realize that Ling Jian had left unscathed from the beginning to the end. Phew, a single battle actually caused the light and dark to lose their balance by 20%. Wang Xian, who was hiding in the void and following Ling Jian, shook his head slowly. It would take at least half a month for the light and dark to regain their balance. However, my level can already be raised. Wang Xian's eyes were filled with excitement. After destroying the ancient demon city, the spiritual herbs he obtained from the Black Curtain Garden, as well as the resources in the interspatial rings of these 25 level 7 insightful void martial artists, were enough to level up his level by 1 level. There were even quite a few remaining resources. He followed Ling Jian all the way to the courtyard where she lived. "Are you still around?" All of a sudden, Ling Jian looked around and shouted softly. When Wang Xian saw Ling Jian calling out to him, he was slightly stunned. A look of hesitation appeared on his face. "I'm really Ling Jian? Why don't I remember anything?" Ling Jian revealed a look of confusion and continued to shout to the surroundings. Wang Xian was delighted. However, he hesitated for a moment and still didn't show himself. He couldn't let Ling Jian think that he was a voyeur. Moreover, given Ling Jianyar's current stage of forgetfulness, it wouldn't be so easy for her to be in love again. He had to wait for a while and appear when Ling Jianyar's emotions were at their peak. Then he. Wang Xian smiled and moved his body, leaning against the dark corner of the roof. Ling Jian stood there for a while and returned to her room immediately after waiting for no reply. She looked at the sword heart grass in her interspatial ring and was in a daze. It's time to raise my level. As Wang Xian spoke, he took out the spiritual herbs and pills from his interspatial ring and threw them into his mouth. One by one, the spiritual herbs and pills were immediately converted into dragon qi. The number that required a huge amount of dragon qi was increasing at a terrifying speed. Ding! Congratulations to host for breaking through in your level. As you have comprehended the strongest aspect of the 5 elements, the 5 elements grinding has further strengthened your dragon body. Ding! Congratulations to the host for understanding the Dharma aspect, dragon body of 10,000 li. Ding! Congratulations to the host for understanding the aspect, abyssal dragon. Name, Wang Xian. Race, dragon of the 5 elements, anthropomorphic. Level, Hollow 4, Dragon Transformation 3. Dragon Glass, 23,311,276. For billion/10,000 billion. Avatar, rules the water tribe below its level. Devourer of life to extract dragon glass. Control the 5 elements. Kung Fu, Dragon Transformation. Avatar, Soul, Spirit, Light and Dark Fire Dragon Eyes, Light and Dark Nihility, Light and Dark Shadow, Light and Dark. Facsimile, 5 elements Big Mill, Palm Dragon Country, Dragon Head World, 10,000 miles Dragon Body, Abyss Demon Dragon. Dragon Palace, Level 3. Members of the Dragon Palace, 17796. There was a cracking sound coming from Wang Xian's body, and a powerful energy was coming from his body. He was lying on the roof with his eyes closed as he sensed the information about his upgrade. A faint smile appeared on his face. With the upgrade of my level, I can definitely fight against or even kill a powerhouse at level 8 of the see-through realm. Also, is that Abyss Demonic Dragon a summoning-type Dharma idol? Wang Xian thought to himself as a smile appeared on his face. He was confident that he would be able to resolve Ling Jianyar's matter very soon. It wouldn't take long for the light and dark to blend together. Coupled with the increase in his strength, he was in a good mood. In the room, Ling Jian took out the sword heart grass and began to absorb it slowly. A spiritual grass of the 8th level of the void interpretation was equivalent to a medicinal pill of the 7th level of the void interpretation. To a cultivator of the 2nd level of the void interpretation, it was a treasure that could increase one's strength. Cultivating the heartless sword principle was equivalent to Ling Jianyar, who had a complete inheritance. It would be very easy for her to break through. Chapter 1562. 1562 1562 Sages of Light 1. Junior Sister Jian. Junior Sister Jian. At night, a group of people came to Ling Jianyar's courtyard, and Bing Jinghuan's voice sounded. Beside Bing Jinghuan was the leader, an old man dressed in ice-white clothes. In the middle of his clothes was embroidered a dragon from the extraordinary continent. The king of the Ice Heart Empire, as well as Bing Jinghuan and the other princes and princesses, had personally come. Their faces carried a trace of curiosity and shock. When they had just learned of the blood incident that had occurred because of the 3 Ice Heart grasses in Ling Jianyar's hands, the king of the Ice Heart Empire had a face full of shock. The appearance of the Sky Devil, and the killing of 25 insightful Void Tier 7 experts. This news had shaken the entire vast region, and his face was filled with shock. 25 Rank 7 Void Interpretation Experts. There were only 7 Rank 7 Void Interpretation Experts in the entire Ice Heart Empire. However, that Sky Demon had killed 25 of them in a short period of time. All of this was because of the three-sword heartgrass. The sword heartgrass that Ling Jian'er had obtained by accident in the Black Screen Garden. When he learned that Ling Jian'er had returned to his residence, the king of the Ice Heart Empire immediately came over personally. Bing Jinghuan and the other princes and princesses also came over. In the room, Ling Jian'er opened her eyes. When she heard the sounds outside, she immediately stood up and walked out of the door. Your Majesty, the ninth prince. When Ling Jian'er saw the monarch of the Bingxin Empire, Bing Jinghuan and the others, she immediately greeted them. Junior sister, are you all right? Bing Jinghuan sized up Ling Jian'er and asked with a face full of surprise. I'm fine. Ling Jian'er shook her head. Did the heavenly devil not harm you? A prince could not help but ask. No, he killed that group of experts and left immediately. Ling Jian'er shook her head. It's good that you're all right. That heavenly devil did not kill you. It's your good luck, Jian. The king of Bingxin slowly nodded his head and looked at her hesitantly. The ice heart grass was taken away by the heavenly devil? No. Ling Jian'er was hiding something. After the Sky Fiend killed a group of experts, he immediately left. I don't know why he didn't ask me for the sword heartgrass. She couldn't possibly tell the Bingxin king that the Sky Fiend had appeared to save her. This Sky Fiend has a strange personality. It's not impossible for him to ask you for the sword heartgrass without asking Jian. It's best not to provoke such a devil. Bingxin king said with a grave expression. The appearance of the Sky Fiend and its attack after destroying the ancient Devil City. This time, it was even more shocking than destroying 1,000,000 lives. With a single move, it directly killed 25 profound Void Tier 7 experts. This was a total of 25. At least 20 second-rate forces ancestors had been killed. Such demonic might was enough to suppress the entire region. At that time, Sky Fiend had even sent word to the experts from the 3 super and first-rate forces who had rushed over. Anyone who dared to provoke him would die. One could imagine how unbridled the entire Sky Fiend was. However, this Sky Fiend came at the right time. If it wasn't for the sudden appearance of the Sky Fiend, junior sister Jian'er's sword heartgrass would have been snatched away by that group of people. Her life might even be in danger. Bing Jinghuan said with a smile from the side. Jian, you have painstakingly obtained 3 sword heartgrass. You can keep one and give the other 2 to father. The Ice Heart King said to Ling Jian. All right. Ling Jian'er hesitated for a moment before nodding her head. Then, she took out 2 sword heartgrass from her interspatial ring and handed them over to the Ice Heart King. All right. Jian, if you want any cultivation resources, just tell me directly. The Bingxin King said happily. 2 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the profound void tier were also important cultivation resources for him. Ling Jian'er nodded. Now, Jian, cultivate well. In 10 days or so, the only sect will hold a competition that is all about you. At that time, you can participate in it and get to know some of the proud disciples of the only sect. King Bingxin said with a smile on his face. The proud disciples of only my sect. Ling Jian'er slightly raised her eyebrows. She thought of the scene where the 2 proud disciples of only my sect, above and below the heavens, were violently beaten up in the mansion of Wuqing City. That priest Wang is really secretive and very mysterious. She pursed her lips and suddenly said, Priest Wang. Ling Jianyar's words caused King Bingxin to be slightly stunned, while Bing Jinghuan's face turned slightly black. That priest Wang is very powerful, but they have provoked 2 heaven's favorites of our sect. It won't be long before that fellow will be eliminated by our sect. Bing Jinghuan said with an unpleasant expression. At that time, priest Wang had also slapped him in the face. In particular, the other party wanted to pursue Ling Jian'er, which made him extremely angry. That young man is very mysterious. King Bing Xian frowned slightly. However, if a young man doesn't have any background, he still can't be compared to the proud sons of heaven of the only sect. All of you learn from Jian and spar with each other. Father will take his leave first. King Bingxin said a few simple words to Ling Jian before leaving to the princes and princesses. The princes and princesses asked Ling Jian about the sky demon out of curiosity. The group chatted for a total of an hour before leaving. Ling Jian heaved a sigh of relief and walked into the room. Wang Xian leaned on the roof and began to balance the light and darkness. At night, a message was sent over. Sect leader Ling had arrived with Ao Jian and Ao Yao. After taking a look at Ling Jian in the room, Wang Xian's figure moved and flew directly towards the entrance of the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. Dragon King. Dragon King. When Wang Xian arrived, Ao Jian, Ao Yao, and the rest immediately greeted him respectfully. Reporting to Dragon King, this is the temporary residence we found beside the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. 2 civil officials from the Dragon Palace walked over and reported to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded and looked at Sect Leader Ling. Sorry to trouble you, Sect Leader Ling. No trouble, no trouble. Little brother Wang Xian, Jian now. Sect Leader Ling shook his head and asked immediately. Jian is fine now. I'm confident that I can bring her back very soon. Wang Xian smiled at Sect Leader Ling. That's good, that's good. Sect Leader Ling nodded with a smile. Next, we will set our base here at the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. Send someone to investigate and see how we can get more resources. Wang Xian said to Ao Jian and Ao Yao as well as the 2 civil officials of the Dragon Palace. It's the Dragon King. Everyone nodded. Ao Yao, go and protect Jian. Secretly protect her safety. Report to me immediately if anything happens. Wang Xian said to Ao Yao. With Ao Yao's arrival, he didn't have to follow Ling Jian at all times. He just had to go and take a look every morning. Next, he had to set up a plan to establish a foothold in the Dragon Palace and the Dragon and Phoenix Empire in the future. Chapter 1563. 1563 1563 Sages of Light 2. The next morning, Wang Xian stood in the house where Ling Jian was staying. Looking at her who was sitting cross-legged on the bed cultivating, he waved his arm and threw the 2 statues at the entrance. It was only when he saw Ling Jian open the door, pick up the 2 statues at the entrance and put them into his interspatial ring that he smiled and left. Ao Yao was hiding in the surroundings, protecting her in the dark. Ling Jian stood in the courtyard and looked around in a daze. She did not find any traces. Ao Jian and Ao Yao soon found a way to quickly gather resources. They hunted the dark beasts in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. The dark beasts and demon beasts were a huge resource for the Dragon Palace. Although the Dragon Palace was not here, they could not turn them into dragon blood in the dragon pool. However, they could preserve the corpses of the ferocious beasts and demonic beasts. As the center of the vast region, the Divine Kingdom forest was extremely vast. It took up an area of more than 100,000 kilometers. There were countless of ferocious beasts and demonic beasts living in it. The powerful ferocious beasts and demonic beasts were even feared by the 3 superpowers. The golden swordfish and strange demon could hunt and kill the ferocious beasts and demonic beasts. They could collect their corpses and bring them to the Dragon Palace to increase their strength in the future. Apart from visiting Ling Jian every day, Wang Xian would stay in his room to balance the light and dark attributes. All radiant priests, head to the front of Wuji Empire's palace immediately. We, Wuji Empire, invite you. All radiant priests, head to the front of Wuji Empire's palace immediately. We, Wuji Empire, invite you. On the morning of the 5th day, a majestic voice suddenly resounded in the sky above the ruins of the entire Divine Kingdom. The awe-inspiring voice carried an unquestionable tone as it resounded in everyone's mind. Oh, what's going on? This awe-inspiring voice? This is the voice of the Wuji Empire's ancestor. Heavens, why would such a powerful figure personally order all the radiant priests to stand in front of the Wuji Empire's palace? When this voice sounded, everyone in the God Nation ruins trembled slightly. Even the other two superpowers and a group of first-rate forces looked in the direction of the Wuji Empire with faces full of shock. Order all the radiant priests in the Divine Kingdom ruins. Has the Wuji Empire encountered any problems? Some experts were alarmed. Go, we'll rush over immediately. Quick, the Patriarch of the Wuji Empire actually personally called for us to rush over. Call all the priests of our Divine Light Empire. Go over immediately and call our Patriarch. When the voice fell, everyone was shocked. All the radiant priests in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom were shocked and rushed over to the Wuji Empire. The order from the Wuji Empire was so sudden. To call all the radiant priests in such a hurry meant that something big had happened. Even the Divine Light Empire hurriedly ordered all the radiant priests of the Empire and even the Patriarch to go over personally when they heard this voice. This voice? It should be coming from a powerhouse above level 8 of the Void Interpretation stage. When Wang Xian heard this voice, a hint of surprise appeared on his face. A powerhouse above level 8 of the Void Interpretation stage, a powerhouse at level 9 of the Void Interpretation stage, would be considered a top-notch figure in the vast region. Why would such a figure be so anxious? Reporting to the Dragon King. We have received news that the Crown Prince of Wuji Empire, Wuqing City, has suffered a serious injury in the Black Screen Garden. Now, the Wuji Empire has summoned all the radiant priests to go and treat him. At this moment, a civil official of the Dragon Palace came in and reported to Wang Xian. Wuqing City has suffered a serious injury. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and revealed a look of surprise. It's the Dragon King. The exact injuries are unknown. The civil official nodded and said, "It seems that Wuqing City's injuries are not light. Otherwise, the ancestors of Wuji Empire wouldn't be in such a hurry." Wang Xian thought to himself. For Wuqing City to be appointed as the crown prince at such a young age, it showed how much importance the Wuji Empire placed on him. Now that the crown prince's life was in danger, it was a huge matter for the entire Wuji Empire. Wang Xian didn't go over. Although he was a radiant priest, he didn't care about the Wuji Empire. Furthermore, no one knew that he was here. With his concealment ability, even if the Wuji Empire used all their strength, they wouldn't be able to find him. At this moment, in front of the Wuji Empire's palace in the God Country ruins, screams of pain could be heard. Several hundred experts from the Wuji Empire stood beside a young man. The young man's entire body was pitch black, emitting waves of terrifying demonic qi. His face was somewhat distorted and malevolent, and his left and right faces seemed to have their own lives. Sigh, I can't suppress it. There are too many darkness souls in his body. More than 10 6th-level Void Interpretation darkness souls have lives. Once I want to get rid of them, they will immediately devour Qing City. Bastards! How are you protecting Qing City? A bald old man with black pupils placed his hands on Wuqing City's body and shouted angrily. Patriarch, we deserve to die. We deserve to die. We didn't protect the crown prince well. In the front, more than 10 middle-aged elders kneeled on the ground in fear and kept talking to the old man. Qing Cheng was careless this time. In order to obtain the Black Veil Heart Fruit, he used the Black Circle Heart to deal with the darkness soul. In the end, he didn't manage to get too many darkness souls and was devoured. Beside the bald elder with black eyes, an elder holding a darkness staff sighed. Big brother, big brother. At this moment, a group of figures quickly walked over. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan, who were in the lead, were filled with anxiety. When they saw Wu Qingcheng lying there in pain, their expressions changed drastically. The darkness soul has entered his body. Wu Qingyan saw her brother's condition and was shocked. Elder ancestor, grandfather, big brother. Wu Qingyan ran over and called out worriedly. The darkness soul has entered his body. Elder Ancestor has no choice. Let the light priests take a look first. The elder holding the dark staff frowned. More than 10 souls of darkness? And all of them are at the 6th level of the profound void tier. This. Wu Qingyan looked at the souls of darkness in her brother's body, and her expression changed slightly. Elder Ancestor, Grandfather, I'm afraid this is not something an ordinary light priest can handle. She looked at the Elder Ancestor and Grandfather, and said with an extremely embarrassed expression. As the daughter of light, her strength was not considered weak among the radiant priests. She was very clear about her brother's current condition. It was very difficult to destroy more than 10 6th-level insightful void tier darkness souls. In fact, she felt that even her master might not be able to get rid of them. I've already sent people to take them over. Let the other radiant priests take a look first. Who knows, there might be a way. The old man holding the dark scepter said in a deep voice. Gathering all the priests of light, they were also desperate. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.